on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin J. Discussing that heat in the street, and we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what
All
you need.
alone.
Vitamin J. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin J. Vitamin J, got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin J. Tryna run the town. Tell 'em no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's about smoke, then we talk all of that. From an ounce to a pound. Check it, they biting this now. Cause my drip right up the seat. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds. Cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see this start crumbling now. Mad struck, start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock blitz, know they love how I freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top, just to form a warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the gang, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them bills on the duty. I'm in Stixie, I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tuned into that VGP.
Take over the west and the east, and we got just what you need on vitamin G.
Hello. Welcome everybody to episode 253 of the Vitamin G podcast. I am your host Pharaoh, and with me today, so far it's just Kofi. So we were just chatting it up for you guys before we went live and just talking about life and stuff like that. But Kofi, tell them how you doing, tell them what you've been playing, how everything going. Oh, hold on. Oop, my bad. I forgot to unmute you.
Can nobody hear me?
Yeah, no one could.
Okay.
My bad.
Hey, everybody. Apparently, Pharaoh just unmuted me, so I'm just going to repeat really quick. I've been playing a lot of Reynatis. It is a very good game so far. I wanted to make mention of it because the demo for Reynatis is now available on Eastern Shores, on Western Shores. And I think you should definitely give it a try. See how you like it. I think for Furyu, this is the most complete game they've ever made. In terms of just having all the things that you would think would be promised in a game like this. I can really appreciate a lot of the interactives between the characters. The maturity between the characters, I think, is really what makes it so special. For example, I hate to make this comparison, but in Persona, as you play through the story, a lot of characters have their powers unlocked and awakened. The main story in Reynatis is a little more mature, where every character has already had their powers and developed them a little bit. So the interactions between characters are a little bit more better told, where a character recalls how they earned, their powers, and they have funny stories to say, or they have interesting, introspection on how their powers were awakened, which I won't spoil, of course. But that take kind of gives you more to talk about, right? When a character has just experienced something, it's hard to comprehend it. It's hard to speak about it. But if it happened years ago, 5-10 years ago, you could tell people a lot of stories, or you could teach another character how your powers are unique. And in this story, the powers are very different. One person might use, for example, their fists as like a way to attack. Another one uses guns. Another person uses swords. Another person uses a whip. So it's really cool to hear, how they use their powers and the um, sometimes there's little quips on like what their names are based on their personality. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Outside of that, though, it's been a lot of Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is basically getting what we believe is the final DLC in the game in about 10 days. And I'm really excited to play with
I know it's low.
Zero Zero and another friend of ours who um, I don't know if anybody here knows, but we're very excited to do it. So I'm basically prepping for. Oh, and there's a new mode that's coming out with this DLC called Boss Rush. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we've seen some new rules where apparently you're going to have to beat many bosses without heals. Well, I should say more correctly, you won't get your heals restored. So, however many heals you had at the beginning of the boss rush, you'll be able to manage throughout the journey. And apparently, there's going to be a boss rush that has at least 24 bosses. I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how we're going to even be able to do that. But very excited. Remnant 2, I think, is still available on Game Pass. I'm assuming. I have been playing with a lot of Xbox gamers because crossplay is now in the game. It's been in the game for about 4 months. And yeah, you should definitely jump in if you're into like a tough Souls like with guns. Remnant 2 is to me is the benchmark of how to do Souls with guns. So yeah, jump in.
All right. And I don't know if Nappy's mic ready. I know he's not camera ready because camera's not up. But there we go. Nappy, how you been? What you been playing, man?
How's it going? I've been doing good. I've been a little busy, so I didn't get too much gaming. I'm still behind on Wukong, but I definitely been using my new controller. This is 8-Bit Do's Ultimate C controller, the Wukong edition. It is a really cool, stylish controller with a 1 millisecond input latency with a wireless connection.
Oh,
which
speaking
is
of,
amazing.
8-Bit Do just did a release like a modding kit. I think to turn like retro PlayStation controllers, wired controllers into wireless controllers, and then create like Hall effect joysticks and all that other stuff. Did you see that?
Yeah, so yes, 8-Bit Do is known for making modding kits. That's how they first started off, as making modding kits for controllers. Then they decided to make controllers of their own.
Okay.
So the company, so yeah, the fact that they're releasing out modding kits again is actually really cool. So that's what got them in business to begin with. So, but besides that, there is besides playing Wukong, I finished the controller review for this last week. This is already up and running. A lot of people seem to like this controller and like all the crazy designs that this controller can come in. It's pretty cool controllers. Anything else that I'm working on? Nothing too crazy. I do have another controller in the mail, but it's not sitting next to me. It's at my desk. It's one of the controllers that claims to have a polling rate of 2,000 hertz, which is unreal because we don't have a controller with 2,000 hertz wireless. I don't know how it's going to work, but I haven't even done the unboxing portion of it yet. So, but other than that, everything else has been good. Just been busy with work. Girlfriend wanted to play a horror game. I think it was like Dusk Till Dawn, some type of story horror game that just came out. She had me play that a little bit.
Okay. Games?
No, it's like one of those Telltale stories, those haunted Telltales about this villain is like Frank Stone. Apparently, it's like it takes place in the world before Death by Daylight.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, apparently they got a Telltale game that explains the story before Dead by Daylight takes place, which is she's really into it.
Okay.
And she's like, I want you to play. And she says I play like an asshole because I'm mean to people.
Well, the game that everything's trying to scare you and kill you. I expect you to be nice, but,
Yeah. I left a lady in the middle of the woods. She was shocked by that. I told her black people don't stay in the woods. We run. We don't even go in the woods to begin with.
Yeah, you got a point there. Not for something spooky there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me personally, I haven't had a lot of playing going on. You know, my son's birthday was this week, so doing a lot of stuff with that. And school.
Visions of Mana.
I haven't had a chance to touch it. Sunday, I played like one game of Madden before the actual NFL games kicked off. And that was probably about it. Yeah, I haven't been able to touch the games, but hopefully this week I'll be able to touch some games because I do want to finish that Visions of Mana. I know it's a shorter RPG, so I want to finish it before Metaphor comes out. So
I'm about to say we got a couple of JRPGs that came out.
Is that going to be your first
coming.
Atlas game?
I think Metaphor will be because I didn't touch Persona. I downloaded it, but I never got around to playing it. So yeah, that would probably be like might be my first.
You never played Soul. You never.
No,
played,
I played. No, it's not my first. I played Persona on the Vita.
Persona 3.
Oh, Persona 4.
Or
Golden.
Yeah, I played Golden.
Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, I played a little bit.
That's my favorite one.
I didn't get too deep into it, but I did play it a little bit. I think I played it like right before I joined the military, and you know they confiscated my Vita, and by the time I got it back, I had access to a real console again, and I just was playing on my main console. So
yeah,
that's kind of how that went for me. But yeah,
I found my controller. This is the 2000 hertz controller.
Oh,
it's in Chinese. It has.
I was gonna ask, does it have the firmware for the US yet?
Don't know. And looks like my camera is trying to look for my face. So okay, there it is. But yeah, this is the 2000 hertz controller. That is interesting. It's on Amazon now, so I'm pretty sure they got the software up and running.
Okay, I'm
gonna definitely test this out. See if this is really a 2000 pulling rate because I don't know. Below 1 millisecond input latency, that's just insane. Let's see if this is true or not, though. We'll find out.
All right. So now, Zero and Jubei may show up. They may not, but show goes on. So let's hop into the What's on Your Mind segment. I'm not sure if a lot happened in gaming this week. Too much. Outside of the big news that is our topics. Oh, there goes Zero. Zero, how you been? What you been playing? Give your intro.
Going on, everybody? So I'm a bit late. I've been playing thanks to Kofi. I got wrapped back up in Remnant 2. So I'm boss on Nightmare mode. Kofi, I might need you to hop in with me. I just need to finish him. But I'm having a good time, man. Trying to find the rest of the secrets. Still got some classes to get to. So Remnant 2 was definitely a big part of it. But of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention Marvel vs. Capcom and just the Capcom fighting game collection. I've been playing a whole bunch of it, and unfortunately realizing that I do not like the PlayStation controller as a fighting game controller, at least for the Marvel series. It does not seem to connect with me really well. So, Nappy, I might need to do some research with you. I've been looking at these
fight pads.
Yeah, Hori makes a fight pad, and I was like, okay, that works with the trigger buttons on the front of the actual controller.
Yeah, there's a couple of controllers that are actually good for fighting games. So believe it or not, actually, I don't know if you can use this on PC, but this controller technically is good for fighting games, surprisingly. Even though it's like for like the people with disability people, but it has all the buttons literally on the top of the controller, even L3 and R3.
Yeah, but I say that does look good for fighting.
Yeah, it's like a mini, almost fight stick. I'm not gonna invest like Jubei and get the whole full fight stick thing, but I just need a fight pad that I can use. And the Hori ones didn't seem too expensive, about $60. So
no, there's some decent ones. Those are some decent fight sticks for you if you need some.
All right, yeah, but no, I'll be sending you my stuff before I hit purchase. Be like, is this good? Yay or nay? Are we good with this? And then I'll dive into the online matches of Marvel vs. Capcom and hopefully don't run into Justin Wall.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so
Question for Nappy. So there is a DualSense, a third-party DualSense called the Phantom, and a lot of people like
Yes.
it. As I looked it up, I see it doesn't have Hall effect, but it has like this, like you can adjust the, I know there's a word for it, but the sticks so that if they start to drift, you can offset them. But I'm just looking for a third-party DualSense that has Hall effect. Do you know of any?
You guys have PlayStation 5, I believe, has well, now they have 3. I know that Raycon has a DualSense controller with Hall effect joysticks. The Victrix BFG Pro controller, you can now buy that with Hall effect joysticks. So that is the controller. I wish I had it here, but it's in my it's in my
Victrix.
drawer. Victrix BFG. So that controller is actually the one where you can swap the buttons around. They now made a Hall effect edition of that,
Okay.
which actually may be good because that means you get the best of PlayStation layout and Xbox layout. And I think there was one more DualSense controller with Hall effect joysticks, but I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, but as far as the PlayStation side goes, Sony doesn't have too many DualSense Hall effect joystick controllers for PlayStation besides those two. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll let you know if I can find more. I can't think of all the ones. I just know those two off the top of my head.
Thank you.
All right, sure, no problem. With Hall effect.
all right. And while he's doing that, does anybody else have something gaming related that's on their mind that is not one of our current topics?
Star Wars Jedi Survivor got an update that makes the game run so smooth on PlayStation 4 Pro now. It's actually really impressive how it runs.
I mean, playing Fallen Order and playing Jedi Survivor, I don't see any reason why.
Yeah, they
Jedi
actually
Survivor
the
couldn't
game
run on the previous gen hardware.
It was funny because after a couple of updates, they released it to the Xbox One on PlayStation 4, and now they just released another update and doing very well. Also, even though this is kind of similar to our topic, I have noticed AMD has been up all the games that are originally for PlayStation that got a PC port had gotten an AMD Fidelity update. Seems like some stuff going on behind the scenes.
AMD's trying to catch up.
Cyberpunk got some extra performance. God of War, the Spider-Man games. I was like, what is going on? And it turns out that looks like they're adding AI to their fidelity mode, which is similar to the topic we're talking about. But I'm like, what the hell is going on here, AMD? So that's just something I'll just let you guys know. There seems to be AMD is working on their fidelity engine, and AI is about to become a part of it. And that already lets me know that NVIDIA is probably going to release their basically frame generation mode that's also going to come with some type of AI in it. It seems like AI is something that you're pushing to everybody. So we'll see.
All right. And anything else for the good of the group? Do we have anything else? And the what's on our mind segment. If not, jump right into our topics. I feel like it's kind of a light week outside of what our main topics are today. All right. That said, let's jump into our topics. But before we do that, just want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, share this out, whether you catch us live or later on. Appreciate that. Boom. So topic number 1, we couldn't miss this. Last week we talked about the PS5 Pro reveal because it was like right before our show they announced it. And we gave our price predictions. And I think I just want to say, I want my flowers here, because I pretty much nailed the price. I told y'all that it was going to be about a $700 system. between $749.99 and $800, and I was pretty much spot on with that. So I'm gonna take my flowers early. With the base PlayStation 5 Pro, if you're just gonna lay it down, it's $699. But once you throw in the stand, and then if you decide,
$30.
yeah, and if you want to
And
add, it gets you right around there when you think about taxes, paying anywhere between like $750 and $800.
$80 for the disk drive.
I thought the disk drive was only like $25.
Is it only 25?
No,
It's being like marked
80.
up, right? Oh, it is 80. Okay, so yeah, it's being like marked up. Something serious about these scalpers that snatched them all up. But yeah, man,
Jesus.
crazy price. And I guess the first round of questions, we'll just get people's reactions on the price. I always like to start off with the PlayStation guys. So Kofi, after seeing the PS5 Pro, what are your initial thoughts? Based on the review that not the review, the showing that they put out, and the price that they gave.
I love getting right into the answers. I hate delaying things. The only reason I'm going to delay my answer is because I want to also speak for Omar, because he will not be in this particular episode.
Oh,
He is not
yeah.
feeling well. So shout out to Omar.
Shout out to
Because I think
Get
Omar
well.
and I Omar and I think have slightly different opinions on this. I kind of want to speak a little bit about what he was telling me in the DMs. He hates this price. He hates this price because in my opinion, he's looking for um, a PlayStation brand that offers everything he needs to be in the PlayStation experience for one price. And he doesn't like that, let's say it is amazingly powerful and it goes to see its potential. That's great. But he doesn't like that the stand is not included. He doesn't like that physical is not included in this package overall, and thinks that it could set this precedent for cocky Sony, or a Sony that is willing to charge premium dollar and fall ignorant to the consumer base that would typically buy, support, create a community around the product. So I'm sure he's going to say that a lot more vocal than even I could. But I definitely wanted to express it out there because I don't necessarily feel as strongly as him. I do want to say my negative thoughts first. I definitely agree. I'm speaking for him in the third person, but I definitely agree that one price that includes everything that the original disc version of the PlayStation 5 was what I was looking for. And it's what Sony has typically done since the PlayStation 3, at least at launch, right? Let's not talk about the PlayStation 2. That's like 25 years ago. The PlayStation 3 had two SKUs, and one included backwards compatibility for PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games. And the cheaper model, I think it was $100 cheaper, did not have compatibility for PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games. PlayStation decided to include the Emotion Engine hardware, and of course the simple hardware that can run PlayStation 1 games for a premium price. And people still hated it then, even though it was completely backwards compatible. This time around, it is not the core console, but for them to what was I'm sorry, what's going on? A train of thought. I lost my train of thought. But basically what I'm trying to say is PlayStation included all the features as an option to buy all together for one price. And that is not the case with this one, because the disc drive is separate. I own a lot of physical games. So for example, I loved what Cerny showed for Gran Turismo 7. It's absolutely a reason I would be interested in this. But guess what? I own the game physically. So now I am definitely required, either I want to buy the game again digitally, or I want to, buy this disc drive. So that extra $80 is on me. Now, I am the PlayStation enthusiast. It is something that I definitely am still interested in. But what I don't like is if you include a console that does not have a disc drive that is connected, and what I'm trying to say is game preservation is hurt by having a console that requires an internet connection when it first connects. Now, once you connect your drive to your Slim or to the Pro, you don't have to use the internet anymore, but it has to register. In my opinion, that's just a negative step towards game preservation, where my current PlayStation 5, for example, I got to play the 1.0 version of Stellar Blade that, had all the controversy about mods on, Eve's character body and all that stuff. Because I could just pop the disc in the PlayStation 5. There was no internet connection required. It plays the game, right after installing the disc. And I love that. At least having that option. Now that is not the case. If I were to take that drive and connect it to a different PlayStation, as far as I can see now, you would be required to connect to the internet at least once to verify and register that drive. It's not. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you can't once you connect it to a PlayStation 5, you can't pop it onto another one.
Yes, you can.
From what I read, it's locked onto that device for life.
Yep. What I've seen is some people have tested it, and it's not.
Okay.
They're able to switch between PlayStation 5s.
Well, that's great, because that was one of my biggest concerns.
Yeah, that would be that'd be really disappointing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, just things like that are just generally disappointing. But to be honest, I've seen some of the PSSR details. I know that Digital Foundry has done some digging into what was recorded from the tech demonstration, and have found some positive things and some, to quote them, weird things. Things like with Hogwarts Legacy, where ray traced reflection seems to be better, but other things they see in the video seem to have strange pixelation that maybe you wouldn't notice if you were playing in an aggressive fight. But in a still shot, you look at it and go, whatever technology they're doing here is good, right? Apparently competitive or better than FSR, but still might need some more attention, either from the developer or, whether technology inside of the PlayStation for PSSR, which is their way to improve image quality without raw pixelation, might need some work. Might need ways to optimize how they are showing image quality or portraying image quality. So I find it as a positive, but I'm definitely interested in what it looks like when I see it, or when I download the video myself and see it on my screen. So that's most of my thoughts.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's throw it on over to Zero. What did you think when you saw that presentation along with the price point? Any sticker shock there?
Yes, only because I didn't want to believe it to be true. I was just hoping out that I guess we would follow. It can't necessarily be a trend, considering like it hasn't been that long since we've been having pro systems officially. But my assumption was this $100 more, based on just consumer naivete. And so I'm a little disappointed with the price, even though I do understand it. But a little like what Kofi said, and I imagine what Omar would sort of highlight as well. I feel like then if we're going to do it, then let's just do it. Like, that you don't have the disk drive really reads to me as a really big knock. Because the PS5 is not designed to replace. I mean, the Pro is not, in my opinion, designed to replace everybody's PS5. It is only here for those enthusiasts who want to take it to the next level. And those enthusiasts will pay the extra 100 for the disk drive. And I know, despite what the numbers show, that Sony at least hears that there are enthusiasts who would enjoy buying physical games and having their physical games, because as it stands, they still got to buy it twice anyway. So we're talking $160 each time you want to get a game. You want to make sure it's physical, but still get the full digital version that you have to get on your PS5. So I don't think folks, the enthusiasts, would balk at this point, the $800 price, or maybe the $850 price, if it included the disk drive. Outside of that, I am smart enough to know that I don't understand everything that goes into ray tracing and all this other type of things. So whenever I try to come at these, I always try to come at what I consider myself a smarter than average consumer, but mostly with a lot of the same habits as an average consumer. And when I look at it in that perspective, I'm just a little confused and a little disappointed because what you're selling is something that I think is very, very pretty, but I'm not exactly sure that I would be able to tell the difference and it would make a massive amount of effect on my gameplay experience. I think I would be able to enjoy it, but I already think that The Last of Us Remastered is an amazing looking game. On the PS5 Pro, it will probably look better, but do I think better enough that it's worth $700? No. And that doesn't include the fact that in order to talk about better, I need everything else surrounding my equipment to be better as well.
Yeah.
If I'm playing on a 32-inch, you know, uh, Panasonic, there is no amount of, ray tracing or anything that's going to make this screen look any better. And I guess it'll look marginally better, but that's not the experience you want if you're coming into this with a $700 PC. And again, I understand that this is probably mainly targeted at enthusiasts, but as a customer, it is Sony's new product. And so I'm interested in Sony's new product. And I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth because unfortunately, industry follows industry. So now I'm a bit concerned that the Switch will do more of the same, and that the Switch will not be $100 increase. And largely, I feel a little. It's similar to how I felt about the Switch OLED, where the Switch OLED is very, very pretty, but the regular Switch runs just fine, right? And like, yes, Tears of the Kingdom will look pretty much better on the OLED, but I would always suggest playing Tears of the Kingdom on a large screen anyway. So then it becomes, what are you playing on the smaller screen, and does that OLED give that much of a benefit to you? For the OLED, I didn't think so much. I think more than the PS5, but for the PS5, I'm just not sure. And again, I think we keep chasing this wall that we've gotten really close to. Because will we be talking that will the PS6 have a PS6 Pro? And then what does that even like conceptually look like? Like how much further are we going to get? And once again, and based on what we talked about last week, I feel like developers can really make something special on the base PS5. And I don't
Yeah.
imagine a lot of developers are making anything specifically for the PS5 Pro outside of Sony themselves. But even then, most of what they showed, we've already seen, played, and beaten. And I don't know, maybe some people do, but I don't know how many times we're going to play The Last of Us. Kofi's got a great point with Gran Turismo. That makes a lot of sense, and seeing that in its upscaled and high level graphics. But Kofi and I talked about it offline as well. Even as he explained it, there's the party ideas. Well, I want the wheel. His TV is quite good. He has all of these things already built around it to do that. I don't know how many people have that or even want that or going to get that. Like most people who are like, oh, I want to play the new Last of Us aren't going to upgrade their TV for it. They're going to get the 5 Pro and we'll see a marginally better difference for $700 or damn near $800 at this point. I don't know, man. I'm disappointed.
Woo.
We will see
You
how it
spitting,
does.
Zero?
Yeah,
You spitting.
I think we'll see how it does. I suspect that it will wind up a bit like the Portal, where it will exist and it is out here, and those who want it want it. And I don't know if we'll hear much about it again. Like I think it will just be very comfortable, and we will just sort of be waiting until the PS6 arrives to really see the next level. So we'll see. But for those who want to get it, by all means. I still think it's a little too much, even for me personally. Like, oh, if you trade in your PS5, it takes about $400-$300 off. It's like,
Well, the
I don't
thing
know.
is you got people trading in their PlayStation 5s with no guarantee on the availability of the PS5 Pro. Like I don't think
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think anyone's expecting this to be mass produced. So you trade in your PS5 for a PS5 Pro, and a lot of people were doing that before the PS5 Pro or pre-orders went up.
Well,
So
the hope is that Sony at least pays attention and does not do like Nintendo used to do, where it was just like damn near impossible to find a Switch. And before this was before COVID, it was what 2017.
Yeah, I remember that.
well,
Facts.
it's either a mass produced product or it's a produced to order product. I don't think
Oh,
there's
I
a real
forgot.
in
There's another
between.
thought I need to have after Jubei and Pharaoh. You go. There's something else I have to say.
Okay, that's cool. You can just get your bars in after zero's done. But I do
Yeah,
want to let
yeah.
Yobi
I
know we
feel
are going to
that's
get
fine.
to your question. We did not.
Mhm.
You will not be forgotten.
So we'll see. And Godspeed and good luck to all those who want the PS5. I will see Kofi at some point in person, and I will look at his PS5 and wonder in awe, and be like, look at these pixels and look at these tracings, and look at all these very fancy
Uh,
words that I will not experience on my day-to-day gaming sessions.
Sheesh.
mm.
All right, and you said you had a extra point you wanted to add there, Kofi.
Yeah, I want to talk about the overall presentation, which I thought was genuinely negative for a few reasons. One, yes, many people have said it. I just want to make sure it's on the record here on this cast. If you're going to try to show a difference between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro and use a streaming video that might be anywhere between 720 and 1080p, you're doing it wrong. Because I look on the Japanese forums, I look on in the US, and everybody's like, what is the big deal? Like, you're talking about like some like simple frame differences, and all of us are here watching on our big TVs, and we can't tell. But if you had prepared a video that can run in 4K, like creators on YouTube have been doing for years, maybe people could have noticed something. Okay, another thing I just wanted to say: the PlayStation 4 Pro was not overall tech impressive. Not only because Sony didn't invest a lot in it, but because it was based on Jaguar architecture that overall was just more affordable at the time. And so when the PlayStation, the reason I'm saying all that is, even though the PlayStation 4 Pro was less impressive tech compared to the base model, showing something like Horizon Zero Dawn at the time was really, really eye-opening as to, a game like this looks really cool, and it's boosted in a way on PlayStation 4 Pro. And I remember getting a TV and the PlayStation 4 Pro because it just felt like the right choice. I'm like, look, Horizon looks amazing. What is this, robot dinosaurs? That's really cool. And in this situation, we know that there are studios cooking. We know that there may be some game that they can show. If I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, I'm going to make reference to Cory Barlog's game. We know that he's working on something. He's made some weird tweets about it over the last 4 or 5 years. I would have shown that game. And given what we know core PlayStation gamers love to see, just a new IP, just something they could grasp onto, like, the Pro will probably run this really great. Why? Because it's a PlayStation internal studio, and they've been working on this IP for so long, and they can optimize it for the Pro. And they really missed the bar, I think, because to be honest, I think the 5 Pro is probably a lot better than the base model compared to how far the 4 Pro stretched past the original PS4 base model. And the other thing was, there are so many Japanese gamers who buy physical. Okay, because I'm an importer, I see the PlayStation used market a lot. There are so many people who they buy their Japanese game over in Japan and they sell their game, and they take really good care of their games. It's a whole culture. Now, when I look at the forums for how they react to this, they're like, oh, well, we all have to buy drives. Like, all of them are assuming not only are they getting killed on the amount of yen they have to pay because of how strong the US dollar is, now they have to buy the drive. That's just, I don't want to stereotype how Japanese people think, but they're like, we're not going to go digital. I'm getting this drive if I want the Pro. And that feels like almost like a misunderstanding of their Japanese market. So I just wanted to make those statements. I totally forgot. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. All right, and Jubei doesn't get the privilege of going next because he was late. We're gonna throw it over to the PC enthusiasts. Nappy, what are your thoughts after seeing everything that came from the PS5 Pro presentation and the price point?
After watching it, I was shocked that it was coming at $700. I personally said 600. I didn't think Sony was crazy enough to do something like that. A little, yeah, okay. You got your flowers, man. You got your flowers. I'll get you a custom controller for being right.
No, you won't. But I appreciate the.
Oh, now you gotta. Okay,
I'll believe
we'll see later.
I believe it when I see it.
All right, but besides, man, Sony. Like I do have slightly of a technical background, and because a PC gamer, we do pay attention to hardware and the software that's being utilized in the system. Even though that the GPU has been increased by the size with more cores by 30%. The amount of games that you get just doesn't seem to add up, because even though it's still running the RDNA 2, which I was like, you could have at least bumped it up to RDNA 3, but I understand it probably costs more money to get RDNA 3 rather than stick with RDNA 2. Also, it's just like when they show the demonstration, I really had to pause the frames to actually like pay attention to every little like spec, all the characters in the background and Ratchet and Clank to see how they're rendered and stuff. And I realized it's stuff that a lot of people don't care about. The one thing that probably caught my eye in that presentation is the fact that he said 3/4 of the time that PlayStation players use performance mode over quality mode, which I was actually thinking that PlayStation people love like quality and their games look pretty, but it turns out they love for their games to feel really good with smooth frame rates, which I was shocked about. So, and because that's honestly one of the best things about PC is that you get that smooth frame rate. Once you get into PC realm, that 60 FPS is a target, it's a must. So I'm actually glad to see that PlayStation people are trying to aim for that. It's just overall like the fact that the console's $700, you don't even get the disk drive, and the fact that the plastic stand is $30 is like the biggest FU to your consumers I've ever seen. Like,
well, the stand has been that price since they released a revision.
It is a plastic. You couldn't. People are already trying to find ways to 3D print it. So
there's some metal on it, but you're right.
I mean, but even still, like that thing is not like that's like you couldn't even give them the stand.
They didn't give me a stand when I got the Slim, so I bought it myself.
It's a premium. I mean, as a premium product, it should come with. If it's truly a premium product, it should come with everything. There should be.
It should come. I'm about to say, like, this is like the elite of the elite, or this is supposed to be y'all elite console. This is supposed to give you guys saying that that they're trying to aim for that 4K 60, not guaranteeing 4K 60, which I find kind of funny because I don't even know why they even mentioned 4K 60. That I was going to be generous and say 4K 45 FPS. That is my generous target for the PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes out. I want to see if we can actually hit that. The FSR 3, this new fidelity and AI stuff, there's not much to compare it to. It already seems like it's been coming out on some of our games on the PC. And as I said earlier, Spider-Man Miles Morales on PC just got a FSR 3.0 update that uses some AI technology. God of War now got the FSR 3.0 update, Cyberpunk 2077. So it looks like this so-called new, never used technology has already been updated on some of our games on the PC side. So I guess I can run some games just to get an idea of what PlayStation was talking about this upscaling technology. That AMD also introduced as well, that they have apparently yet to introduce to all other games and stuff. Overall, the performance, I do think that it's honestly not worth it. I'm not going to say that you can build a gaming PC for $700 that can probably match match the exact power of a PlayStation 5 Pro for being a dedicated console. But for $700, I know that for a fact I can go somewhat blow to blow with the PlayStation 5,
Well,
especially if I was like spend like extra $400 on a $700 budget. I will.
Oh, you mean like a
easily
base
win.
PlayStation 5?
But yeah,
But-
the PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm saying the PlayStation 5 Pro is not that impressive. Overclocked RAM and a 30% bigger GPU and the exact same CPU, which now lets me know open world games are going to perform the same. I mean, it's just like, what are you going to do? And also, GTA 6 is coming out soon, so
see, I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, like, okay, for me, I built my PC last about 6 years ago. I still love it. It's still great. I still support all PC gaming options. But I guess when you enter that space, in my opinion, people want to sit at a desk and not connect their PC to a television. And so when you have that circle of investment, you're going to buy a monitor. So we're talking about budget. It's going to be more than 700 some way.
Yeah, I would.
I just don't think many people in the majority are going to connect their PC to a TV somewhere.
I will actually argue against that and say that I do know people who connect their PCs or TVs. As a matter of fact, you should see how many people use Steam Link on their TVs lately to make sure to play their PCs on their TVs. It's literally your PC running the game, just connected to your PC, connected to your TV through Ethernet or Wi-Fi.
I'll have to take your word for it. The one reason I press doubt is a lot of monitors have refresh rate technology that some TVs do not.
That is true.
Right? So you like to get like if you're getting that high end, ray tracing type stuff, you want a monitor that can correctly display frames. You don't want tearing. It just feels like a mismatch.
I was gonna make that same point that you're making, Kofi, but I was actually gonna make it both ways, because if you're gonna buy that PS5 Pro, you're gonna need a TV that matches in order to get the performance gains that you want on your screen.
I'm about to say, because a lot of people don't have HDMI. You must say a lot of people don't have HDMI 2.2.
That's true.
2.1.
That's true. I buy that.
You got to get a special HDMI cable just to get that like smooth 4K. And not only that, the refresh rates for TVs and compared to monitors, I mean, that 0.1 millisecond respawn time that most of our $400-$500 monitor supports, the TVs don't. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, this PS5 Pro is saying that it's supposed to be your pro console. It's supposed to be your 4K 60 FPS, even using some frame generation FSR magic tricks to achieve that. It's supposed to give you guys somewhat more and close the gap between PC and console. But for $700, that doesn't seem like it's doing much of anything. You may get a slight boost. Your graphics may look slightly better, but it's not. But if it's not worth it.
You're gonna pay.
It's not $200.
You're gonna pay close to $2,000 if you don't already have that TV that you need with the VRR and the HDMI 2.0. You're gonna pay close to $2,000.
I don't know, because I mean, I can hook my PC right now. I have an HDMI cable that goes directly to my TV.
I'm talking about a PS5 Pro person. If they're buying if a person's buying a PS5 Pro and they haven't upgraded their TV at all this generation,
for VRR, right?
Yeah, if they want all the PS5 Pro features and resolution, images, HDR, all that, they're gonna have to pay north of $1,000. And then when you factor when you factor in sales tax, I mean, even if you get a cheaper TV, you're gonna end up paying close to $2,000 when it's all said and done. If you're really gonna get all the features of the PS5 Pro, if you're gonna get the most out of it. If you don't have that TV, if you don't have the TV already, is what I'm saying.
Well, then you're just making it even worse. More of reasons not to buy the PS5 Pro if you're not going to get all the features out of it.
I mean, most people aren't. Most people that buy the PlayStation 5 Pro are PS enthusiasts that don't consider those things. They won't have that TV. So it's not gonna be much different than playing on a PlayStation 5, but they don't care because they have the Pro.
Yeah, but also another thing too, Sony needs to start making some exclusives because the PlayStation people, they love their Call of Duty and 2K. That's why the reason why they're sticking to their PlayStation 4s. If COD 6 did not say that it was going to be backwards compatible with Xbox One and PlayStation 4, which is not holding back the other new consoles because of their engine. It's just the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox are going to be streaming everything, while the PlayStation 5 can run everything natively on their consoles. So
the new COD is on PS4.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be PS4 and Xbox One because of the Call of Duty engine. Instead of running all the gaming assets and sprites on the console, their engine allows you to use the network to run some of the sprites over the network. The only downside is increased input latency. So
For learning
PlayStation 4
purposes,
people,
I love it, but
so
otherwise,
yeah,
yeah,
but so basically PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players playing COD Black Ops 6 are going to have a little bit of a handicap because they're using older hardware, and their older hardware is going to rely on that streaming rendering technology or that custom engine that COD has. So overall, I think that Sony created this premium product that nobody wanted. I think they probably need to focus on the games, but I could be wrong because that streaming handheld for $200, people have bought it and it's sold well, apparently, which till this day, it puzzles me. So who knows? Maybe this PlayStation 5 Pro is going to run well. I swear to God, when GTA 6 comes out, if it can't run 4K 60, well, I already have a strong feeling it's not going to run 4K 60. If it can't run 4K 60, though, I'm just going to laugh. I'm actually going to say this PlayStation 5 needs to be able to run everything 4K 45 FPS. And yes, I'm going to be nice enough to let you use your FSR stuff because let's face it, without that FSR stuff, that RDNA2 chip would be burning. It'll be like a PlayStation 4 taking off all over again in people's living rooms. PlayStation 5 going to be taken off as well. So that's my thoughts.
Okay. And let's throw it over to our last panel member to the panel today. Jubei. Tell people how you've been, what you've been playing, and what are your thoughts on this whole PS5 Pro reveal?
So let me start at the reveal. I was at work. I was very underwhelmed with what I saw, just because it's like YouTube compression. I'm like, bro, y'all could have had the 4K joint up. I am sick and tired of, and it was only 9 minutes. Y'all could have pre-recorded this shit. It didn't need to be like a live event. Like, just upload the fucking video. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree with that.
You could upload that shit at 4K. Like, fuck that.
Oh yeah, by the way, you gotta pay YouTube Premium members to see 4K videos though. I forgot about that part. You have to be YouTube Premium to see 4K.
They used to do it for free.
That changed?
Yeah, that been changed. That was like a couple months ago. I forgot about that. But yeah, because I have YouTube Premium and my friend was like, how can you watch things at 4K? I was like, wait, you can't watch things at 4K? He's like, no. I was like, oh,
How?
shit.
My TV app can watch shit in 4K. I definitely don't have Premium. Like, I don't get that.
No,
that's weird.
Is it say 4K or does it say 1080?
No, it's 2160, bro. 4K. I always go back and have to rewatch all these damn shows because it's like I know I'm getting like a 1080p garbage quality stream every time, so I don't really pay attention until I rewatch it. Even rewatching, because they did upload a 4K version of it, which is what it should have came out anyway. Like, I got a clearer picture, but it's, who are they selling this to? I don't understand, and I say that as someone who's gonna get one just because, but I'm not your everyday person. Who the fuck are you selling this to? And they didn't sell it to me through marketing. It's just something I want to do.
I feel like it's just geared towards the U.S. market, honestly, because when you go outside the U.S. market, it's over $1,000 in most places.
Absolutely, it's sickening.
Bro. Yeah, even the U.S. market is like they're struggling. They're like, this is not worth $700.
I'm saying it's a lot more expensive once you get outside the U.S. market.
It gets worse. It gets worse. So hopefully they have your whole the whole thing with like, why are people trading shit in when there's not a guarantee they can even get one? I'm already seeing scalpers buy up like, the disk drives and shit. Like this shit better be on point
The
when these
scalpers are
pre-orders
stupid for
open.
buying up the
Like
disk
this,
drives because the disk drives are
yeah,
being produced faster than they're gonna be able to
yeah.
sell them out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and that was retarded. I'm like, who wants to pay $300 for a disk drive? Like y'all are corny. Um, Back to the presentation though, like watching it in 4K, I'm like, cool. The side by sides made a little bit more sense, but I also know some like actually like what are we really looking at here? Because it's like some things like shadows and shit look worse. You know what I mean? Like
Hey, they have to make
if
up.
we're exactly, but like what I'm seeing is it's like it's not like we're getting a graphics mode like it's just oh yeah everything's gonna be quality graphics. It's like we're really honestly just bumping up what the graphics look like in whatever the performance mode is and pretty much trying to lock that performance mode. Because it's the differences between the two. I'm like there's cuts being made. Like this isn't like the graphical leap that people think it's going to be. Since a lot of that shit's also gonna be upscaled, and like once they showed like Alan Wake 2 is still gonna be like fucking 30 FPS, and I'm like, and so is fucking Hogwarts Legacy. I'm like, so y'all definitely couldn't make that shit run at 60. Like y'all killing me. Like really, who are you selling this to?
The
Like
CPU kind of bottlenecks that. So
yeah, exactly. That's the fucking
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, we know this, but throwing more GPU power at it, and with most of these games are CPU limited, and this CPU is already 4 years old at this point, and it was already kind of outdated when they dropped it because it's like a 2700X like downclock.
Yeah, something similar to
Like
that.
I had that
The
shit in my
RDNA
PC
too.
before these consoles came out, so I already know it's old.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like I just didn't understand much of this. What they could have did, like showing me. Don't try to show me PS5 games that I've already played and beat. I'm not gonna go back and fucking play them just because I have a Pro. There is literally no point in me doing that. I don't get any trophies from it. Like, oh, let me go back to this one level and see what this tree looks like now. Like, fuck that. That like literally that's corny, and that's the that they showed pretty much everything that everybody who already has a PlayStation should have already played at this point.
yeah,
Um, so far, like they could have hit us with Death Stranding 2 running on this. Like there is a lot of things they could have did.
I agree.
I just wasn't moved. I'm like graphically like okay, it still looks kind of thing. Oh, it's just 60 frames. Like great, like cool. Um, People are like, and then people are so stuck on like, oh, it's like 33 and a half teraflops, and I'm like, eh. Um, there's
Doesn't feel
some,
like it. It doesn't
and
look like it.
it doesn't. It not only doesn't look like it, it's like there's some. I'm pretty sure whatever they got in there is like RDNA 3. To be honest, I don't think it's 2,
You
but
really think it's RDNA 3?
it is because I have a 7900 XTX, and that like looking at it, it's like, oh, it has like 100 something flops. It's really like 60. You feel me? Like let's be real. If we're talking like versus Nvidia equivalents, like that's what we're looking at. We have to compare it to that, and
Mm-hmm.
because AMD likes to inflate their numbers, like it's something that they do.
Oh yeah, that's not just AMD. That's all the companies. That's why you got to wait for them
No,
personal
no, but like
reviews.
Yeah, you gotta
Nvidia
wait for
is
it to come out.
Nvidia is not as bad. Like we're talking like they double their shit. Like
Yeah.
like
Trust me, I saw
AMD
that.
doubles it. Like you see, like it's gross. like
Yeah, I trust me. I saw their next lineup CPUs are coming out. The 8000 series.
mhm.
Man, did they skew the shit out of those numbers.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, y'all are doing yeah some kind of math, but I think it's just not making sense. Like, okay, it's 33 and a half teraflops, right? Well, realistically, it's 17 if we're just talking RDNA 2. Because if you dropped an RDNA 2 with that much, with like that amount of teraflops, and it's just RDNA 2, like we'd actually see something. But we're not going to. It's it's a half step, and it's not a great half step. And I like even though I'm getting one, like I'm already not that excited about it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm just very underwhelmed. I'm like, if you already have a PS5, this ain't for you. If you have a PS4, this is probably for you. If you haven't made the jump yet, if you already have a 5, man, just wait 2.5, 3 years, and the 6 will be here, and it should actually show something. Like I just don't know who they're trying to sell this to.
So, and this is pretty much probably our biggest topic of the day. When I first saw it, and I saw the price point, I kind of had the feeling that price point was coming.
Yeah,
And
we both said it. Like we
and
were talking about this being like $700 on the show.
so, and the two things that kind of led me to that price point was the price of these handhelds that have released recently, and um, I think they kind of want to be around that price point. I think that's part of it. And then I think when Xbox announced that 2 terabyte Series X that was going for 600, at that point I couldn't imagine the PS5 Pro being the same price as um the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte edition. So at that point I was like, this is gonna be a $700 device.
That's right, because the Series X 2 terabyte edition is $100 less.
Yes, it's
Sure
$599.
is.
Yeah, it's $599.
Okay.
So when I saw those things, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be uh base price probably $699, and then if they're doing what they're doing as far as not including the drive and the stand anymore, then it's gonna be about $800. If you're realistically expecting to purchase this device as a premium device. If you buy a $700 PS5 Pro just to like lay it on the ground, it's like, why did you buy it? Type thing. If you ask me personally, so that was kind of like the first thing as far as when it came to price. But my reaction to the price is that it comes off as very tone deaf. Um, for Americans who make a decent salary, to spend $700 on a console, that's probably not a crazy expense. Because it's a one-time purchase, it's a one-time quote unquote luxury expense. So I don't necessarily find that to be crazy, but then when you look at how it impacts people who live in other countries, like in the UK, it's like $910 base for the PS5 Pro. That's when you do the conversion from dollars to pounds. What it is in the EU, who knows? But I've seen different price points, and it's basically about $1,000 once you get outside the US market, especially like with the conversion rate from the US dollar to the yen, they're paying like $1,000. It's up there. Like this is not cheap for these people. So I think to a worldwide audience, it comes across as very tone deaf, and I think that's why Omar felt the way that he felt. Because internationally, that $700 isn't $700. So that was my first thing, and then when I saw the performance, I just don't think the performance justified the release of this product. And there will be some visual performance gains, but there's not enough performance gains where you're guaranteeing that a lot of these games that were sitting at 30 are now going to be able to hit 60. We're seeing reports that a lot of these games still won't hit 60, so that kind of, it's like, why are you really releasing this product? To me, if you ask me, it's not about creating a better product for the consumer. I think what they are doing is, I think they wanted to get that PSSR technology out there, but they wanted it on the Pro. And basically, PS5 Pro purchasers are going to be beta testing, the key feature of the PlayStation 6. That PSSR, they want it rocking and rolling by the time the 6 comes out, which they plan on dropping in 2028. Based on the news, that's going to be the next thing that we kind of talk about in regards to this PS5 Pro. So with that coming out 3 years from now, people get their hands on it this holiday. They give developers 3 years to really work with this PSSR and really get it rocking and rolling, so that when they go into their next gen, the PlayStation 6 is really rocking and rolling with that PSSR tool and developers are really able to maximize it at the launch of the next console. That's what I think is going on with the PS5 Pro. Honestly, I don't think it's about quote unquote making a better product right now. You're going to see some games that look better, but it's not going to be an across the board thing, and I think that's kind of unfortunate. That's kind of like my main thoughts when I saw this new PS5 Pro. I don't know if anybody has any pushback or anything they want to say, kind of counterpoint. But if not,
One thing I will say, if you're gonna make a premium product, make a premium product. I wish it came in some different flavors. It's still just the white. I know it looks a little different, but like
I don't think
More
it's
stripes.
I don't
yeah,
think
and more
me the
stripes.
black. I mean, match the controllers that we have.
yeah, I just don't think that they think it's a premium product. I think they're making you beta test PSSR.
But I mean, by the time that even the PlayStation 6 supposedly comes out, it's going to have much more updated hardware anyway. So that's like,
But you're testing the tools, the software tools that you're gonna
Yeah, Pharaoh has a
Yeah.
point in that like there's rumors that like machine learning and
Well, they are-
PSSR will be used in greater scope. And so using it now means you'll use it better later, right?
Yeah.
oh yeah, the more the AI learns, I guess the better. But
As
even
opposed to
still,
just saying, "Oh, I'll learn it now that the PS6 is out."
Yeah.
The benefit is it preps other developers for this upcoming thing.
Yeah.
So now they
I don't
know.
even-
Like, all right.
I don't even think developers are going to try to aim for the PS5 Pro. Maybe very few will even try to. They more so will
People
just
that-
like make sure the games run on the base PS5.
Developers that they lock in marketing deals with and things like that, they'll definitely use those features. They're like their close partners are gonna use PSSR.
Yeah, but I'll say one thing that developers could have learned. Developers just take note that 3/4 of the player base use performance mode. Maybe target FPS over picture quality.
they have
just saying.
They have those numbers with us always being connected to the internet. They know exactly what modes we're playing on. So,
but I think most gamers are going to be okay with 60. But you know, the argument Cerny was making is that we can try to maintain 60 while having better image quality. It's not going to be 4K, but it's going to have better image quality.
Yeah.
Right, like, and that's it. Like, it's still like it's just a slightly beefier performance mode. Like, I don't think without like trickery they're gonna like nail like a quality mode with that until the PS6. Like, this is their way of trying to bypass like doing that. That way they can, they don't have to max out on hardware, so they can sell you another Pro next gen if they can get their AI resolution shit to work.
So here's where I'm gonna go next with this on this PS5 Pro topic, because we also got news today that there was a bid between AMD and Intel to do the chip for the next PlayStation, and PlayStation decided to go with AMD. And excuse me. Along with that information, we also found out that the PlayStation 6 is slated to release no earlier than 2028. So, with that being said, it kind of puts them in an awkward position if I'm going into this world with Jubei that I do not want to go into, where the new Xbox consoles release in 2026. It gives Xbox a 2-year lead and into the next generation, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I mean, I think it's, of course, beneficial to Xbox, but if quote unquote the next generation starts with Switch 2, which is supposedly releasing next year, and then the new Xbox releases a year later, the PS5 Pro instantly feels like an outdated product. So, like, I guess my question is, like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, what do you think, like, PlayStation's really doing here? Was it really wise to go this particular route? Should they just stuck to the PlayStation 5, maybe integrated PSSR into the current PlayStation, unless there's an actual chip in the new PlayStation 5 Pro that it's like hardware based
There is
PSSR.
there is a physical hardware on board
I'm about to
for
say
that.
because that's why they made the chip. That's why they made the GPU bigger to begin with. The extra cores are being put to use.
Okay.
So
but yeah, so like, how do you guys feel about like them putting themselves in this position where they could, potentially be 3 years behind?
Sony don't.
3 years behind the Switch and 2 years behind the Xbox. I'm gonna kick it off with Kofi, of course, first though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I don't think that this is going to hurt or help PlayStation 5 console sales in the United States. In Japan, I think it's always going to hurt PlayStation because that handheld market is taking a lot of those third-party support that used to prefer PlayStation. I mean, there used to be like Utawaru Mono. It was a visual novel style RPG game that it was live and die PlayStation.
Yeah.
And now that it's been selling better on Switch, that's kind of like a lost opportunity. Now, the Portal is a look in the right direction, and maybe they'll make something that runs hardware natively so they can, again, compete with some of these third party. There's a dozen developers that release one game every year, and they just don't sell that well on PlayStation. Probably because of price, and two, because of portability. But in terms of against Xbox, I'm not sure if I mean, okay.
I'm not saying just Xbox. I'm just saying the perception is that they're going to be a couple years behind both platforms, not just specifically Xbox.
I think in America, if we're looking sale for sale, there'll still be people who want to buy a newer Xbox as opposed to getting the Pro. Like you say, if it comes out in 2026. But I don't know if Xbox is going to want to really show something super impressive, right? They just want something that can help bolster their community that supports their theory of playing everywhere.
Well, if they're launching a new generation 2 years early, they're playing to win. They're trying to win that generation.
Sure.
If you're launching,
I don't think it's aiming.
If you're launching 2 years before your number one,
but is playing to win super great hardware or something like online connectivity?
I was going to say
sure
it's more.
I think it's both.
I think it's going to be played anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to have some crazy oh, it's going to blow things out of the water. It's going to be like Xbox's moniker, kind of more reasonable.
No, when they've tried to win the power narrative at the beginning of this generation. They didn't want the past 6-7 years. They've tried not to lose the power narrative. So I
agree, but I just feel like nothing really came of it. They have Senua's Sacrifice. I mean, Hellblade 2. But
well, they were behind. They were behind studio wise. That's why they bought Bethesda. Because Xbox Game Studios is just starting to release games. Literally, they're just starting to release games.
You might be right. Gears, what is it called? D-Day or whatever? T-Day?
E-Day.
E-Day.
It's
going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm not going to hate on that game.
Think about their showcase that they started to launch the generation with. The one that they, decided to, hey, this is why you should get a Xbox console. How many of those games have actually launched? I think Forza Horizon, Halo Infinite, and maybe one other game has launched from that showcase. And we're how many years into the generation? That shows just how far behind they were. Oh, Hellblade. They got 4 games from their launch showcase. Whereas PlayStation, everything from their launch showcase has at least come out already. Big difference.
You might be right.
Big difference between the two platforms. Big difference. Xbox was way behind the ball, but Microsoft started giving them money, and they've been able to kind of catch up this generation as far as getting a good development pipeline, I should say. Not as far as sales goes as hardware, but as far as getting their development pipeline in order, they've been able to catch up in that regard. But yeah, are you done, Kofi?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just conversating with you, so I was just making sure.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was debating with you. I think you're right that the growth of those studios may be more impressive tech because they are somewhat in their infancy in terms of like new hires and building culture. Those definitely take time. I guess my overall feelings is having smaller games that are maybe more nuanced seems to be the theme I'm getting from the Game Pass ecosystem, and not necessarily having these weighty, super expensive, impressive tech games. Just have like AA games. And there's nothing really wrong with AA games, but I just feel like that's more of a Game Pass.
I don't think they've released a lot of AA games. Mostly everything that's come out has been AAA. Mostly since the generation started.
Game Pass.
From the first.
I mean, they've been putting money into some indie developers to get their game.
No, I'm talking about the first party stuff. Like what they've done. First party has been AAA for the most part.
Okay, yeah, first party has
like you got Hi-Fi Rush is probably the only AA game. Pandemic came.
But I mean, is that
Hi-Fi Rush and that probably the only?
Is Avowed AAA?
Yeah, I got a AAA budget.
Okay.
I don't think it's a super long Western. It's not a super long Western RPG. It's more based on you being able to play it hundreds of times and get different endings and different scenarios every single time. So it's not like
I don't consider Outer Worlds AAA, and I guess I was imagining it's similar in scope to Outer Worlds.
Well, Outer Worlds came out. Outer Worlds came out before Xbox purchased them.
Right, and I know that they weren't technically like it's technically like first party, even. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I agree. But I'm saying that's the same studio, and I feel like the scope is very similar, in terms of like, I don't know, game size, budget. But I mean, I don't know for sure if it's AAA or not.
I mean, I don't know. I thought the Outer Worlds was a great length. Like I got what I wanted out of it. You remember when I was playing? I was heavy on that game when that shit came out. And then, I got what I wanted out of it.
Yeah,
I think Clockwork Revolution is gonna be a AAA title. What's the other one? That's coming out soon. Fable, that's AAA.
Yeah, Fable. I definitely believe that's AAA.
I don't think they're dropping a AA game next year. I think the only AA game they might drop next year is South of Midnight. I think that's a AA title.
What about the okay.
And Towerborn, I guess you consider that AA, maybe.
Yeah, that did look AA more so than AAA.
Towerborn looks AA, but we'll see. I think it's actually going to sell really well when it drops.
We're just talking about the budget it took to make the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Perfect Dark, that's AAA. That's coming out soon. That's definitely.
I forgot all about that.
No. Remember, Perfect Dark is quadruple A, bro.
Yeah. Oh, another one of those.
Quadruple A.
Quadruple A.
But yeah, but I'm saying I don't think Xbox is going heavy on AA titles. I think they do sprinkle them in there, but they seems to be a lot more AAAs that are in development than AAs over there right now.
I mean, people did lose a lot of money on some of these AAA titles, so
I don't think Xbox is thank you. I don't think Xbox is falling victim to that outside of what Redfall, and anything Tango Gameworks released.
It was Redfall. I think Redfall was more than enough for Xbox to realize, like, oh no.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: it turned into an okay game in the end.
It did? Wait, it did?
Yeah, it's at 60, and they didn't sacrifice any visual quality at all to get there. I don't know how the fuck they did it, to be honest. But no, like, it's fine. Like, their quality of life shit's on their way out. Like, the game's not complete trash. So
that's nice to hear.
I still need to go back and finish it. Actually, it's on my list of things to do, but it just didn't launch great. But it's pretty all right now.
Yeah, but back to PlayStation and this Pro possible now kind of putting them in a situation where they can be behind the 8 ball. As far as when these next two console manufacturers kick off their next generation. Kofi doesn't have anything. Zero. What are your thoughts on that potentially?
I think it'll be interesting. If nothing else, I'm very curious in just what happens when all the systems just start releasing on their own calendars on their own timetables. Uh,
I think
if
that would be
Xbox,
developer hell. I think developers would
Yeah,
hate that.
that's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah.
I imagine so. But like that looks to be what's at least happening potentially, right? Like we already know Switch jumped off the train, but if Xbox is most certainly coming out before the new PlayStation, if I make, let's say, I make a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy, I'm not gonna hold it until the new PlayStation comes, right? Like I'm gonna put it on the Xbox because it's here, and
Oh,
either
cross-gen support ain't going away no time soon.
yeah, and that's true. So maybe what the idea is just like it might look better on Xbox or run better on Xbox than it does on the PS5 Pro until 2 to 3 years later when the PS6 comes out, and then it does. But it seems to put a lot of work then on PlayStation to really get it right with the features that they want to get on the new system. But it also gives the opportunity to get it right perfectly because you'll see what the competition is doing.
Yeah.
So I am always up for companies trying new things. I don't think Sony's particularly worried about it in any meaningful way, and largely because the strength of most of their stuff is their original first-party titles. So when the next Naughty Dog game comes out, or if they're able to secure those Final Fantasy rights for a bit longer,
Oh, that's dead.
okay, or if Black Myth 2 comes out, like they've got the opportunity to really hold up and say, hey guys, here's where you want to play the best. You want to play the PlayStation games, you got to come here. You have to wait. So I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. I'm just curious to see because it's going to be a learning curve for someone. I just don't know who that's going to be because on Xbox's side, it's like it's great that you're coming out sooner, Xbox, but sure hope you hit the ground running with all these games coming. I know they're on your calendar, so let's get it here. And maybe shore up some third-party deals. Beauty of Game Pass is play almost anything,
Well,
any given time.
if they release 2 years earlier, they won't need to secure any third-party deals because they'll have 2 years with nobody to compete against for those quote-unquote next-gen titles.
I don't disagree. But I guess that all depends on where they fall within the release schedule for these games. As we know, they're taking longer and longer and longer to make. So like I don't know. Does Capcom obviously does not hold the next Resident Evil for PS6. But what would be missing between the Xbox version and the PS6 version?
You mean the PS5 Pro, I guess, version and whatever the new Xbox is called between if it releases before 2028 is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, my thought is that the new Xbox will be more powerful or more impressive than the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
So then and to be fair, you did say the 5 isn't going anywhere, and neither is the 1
Yeah.
or Series X for that matter. So I guess in that case, you just scale everything down or up depending on where you want to go.
Yeah, you might end cross-gen support for PS4 and Xbox Ones.
Oh yeah, they need. I mean, there's. I don't want to make people get rid of PS4s, but like that should probably be gone now.
Yeah.
I think you made a great point. I think that a lot of developers are going to stick with what is this 9th gen for a good while.
Quite some time, yeah. And so,
Yeah.
then once again, then we circle back to our sort of PS5 Pro conversation of, well, all right, then if our Resident Evils, our Grand Theft Autos, our other games are all gonna stick within the 9th gen, that means they either need to like learn these systems and master them, which means the new Xbox and or the new PS6 is going to have a bit of a trouble for any third-party games. Their first-party titles, I'm sure, will be absolutely fine and will utilize the system to its fullest ability. But those third parties are like, listen, man, I just mastered the 5 and just mastered the 5 Pro and just mastered the X without having to worry about the S. anymore. I don't know if I'm gonna put too much effort into mastering the 6. It feels like it's going to be a lot of effort on developers who are not owned by these companies going forward.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because some can rise to the challenge, but I'm not sure. But overall, I don't think Sony's concerned in the least. They know when Naughty Dog drops their new thing, people will be flocking to pay whatever they need to pay for that new PS6.
I can see that. Nappy, what are your thoughts there, as far as PlayStation kind of positioning themselves to be um maybe 2 years behind the next Xbox and maybe 3 years behind the next Switch as far as their next generation launch?
They need to start focusing on their IPs and making, and like I said, these first party games that are going to be coming out for these consoles need to be like the most top tier games, because even though that like they're going to be 2 years behind of the newest latest greatest newest latest and greatest technology, I know that like one of the biggest things of that's coming out soon is going to be GDDR7, because Nvidia's graphics cards for their patent shows off this new RAM chip that's inside graphics cards, which we have yet to see the power of that. Being 2 years behind on that, they're definitely going to be the underdog, but I'm curious to see if Sony can pull the same thing they pulled with the PlayStation 3 at the very last minute, coming up ahead. So we'll have to see. They did put themselves in a really bad corner right now with a lot of decisions. They got way too comfortable and way too greedy, which is why I don't feel no sympathy. I have no empathy for them. So, but I'm pretty sure they'll bounce back. They will start listening to the gamers once again and realizing that now that gamers want games and they want quality, good, smooth running games on their consoles,
Well,
despite what the hardware it is.
If they don't consider if they don't consider any competitor to be an actual threat, do you actually think they'll listen? Because this PS5 Pro comes across as very tone deaf.
They will listen once they realize the sales. But then again, if it turns out that this PlayStation 5 Pro turns out to be a profit, I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be like, okay, well, PlayStation people, they just buy anything. I'm still surprised that the streaming handheld was a profit when all it does is stream your PlayStation 5.
I think less than 15% of the PlayStation user base purchased the Pro version of the PS4. I think it was around a little less than 15%.
You're right. Like it's a little over. Yeah, I agree.
So it's, I mean, I think, even with this higher price point, you're looking at maybe somewhere between like 7 and 12% of the PlayStation 5 base purchasing the PS5 Pro. And the thing is that you're not necessarily going to be getting a new customer. You're going to be getting an existing customer that's just upgrading their hardware. So,
I mean, a sale's a sale, so you pay twice.
Well, you sell hardware to sell software. The goal is to sell software. If you're not getting a new customer to sell software to, it's not.
Well,
it's not as beneficial as what you would like.
Well, tell that to Sony. I mean, where the games at?
They just dropped the game.
They published a lot of games.
They just dropped 2 games in the past month. Nobody's buying them. Except in select
we're not going to
markets.
talk about. I forgot about the Concord thing.
Concord.
Those 7 people still online, because they have been holding strong.
Dead.
Yeah, dead.
That one's like intentionally dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was dead.
This year, first party, PlayStation has released from their first party studio specifically. They released 3 titles, and then they have the second party deal with Shift Up, and the second party deal with Rise of the Ronin, which is Team Ninja. So they've had 5 PlayStation Studios published games this year. It's not like
I don't know. For $700, that's not. I don't know.
Helldivers is also second party.
Oh yeah, so 6.
They don't really
Yeah.
publish. Yeah, they don't really. I mean, they publish the PC, but they did last time too. But they don't really publish anywhere else.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
PlayStation has had PlayStation Studios has,
And of course,
5, 6
you have
titles.
and then of course, like something like Final Fantasy is a big system seller.
Not this go around. Rebirth did not do what we hoped.
Wait, what? I thought Rebirth was like the. Oh my
Rebirth
god!
sold decently, but it wasn't overwhelmingly impressive.
Man, Square Enix is fucking up.
I don't.
I mean, great game.
I don't think they fucked up. It's. I think a lot of people that purchase those type of games are still sitting on the PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will not let go of that PlayStation 4. And like I said, like Black Ops 6 is going to the PlayStation 4. I think Microsoft did it on purpose to fuck with Sony.
And the thing with RPG gamers in general, there's not a lot of quote unquote system sellers in the RPG space that just forces you to buy new hardware to play it. You know, like and even like in the sports games, like there's only select titles that force you to buy new hardware, or like maybe there's like a IP like Spider-Man that every now and then comes out that forces you to get new hardware. But that's not that's hit or, like GTA 6 will be the first thing that like really forces PS4 people and Xbox One people to really move over if that's what they really want to play. So
yeah, we'll see. But I think we hit this nail on the head, deep into the head on this topic.
Yeah. So Jubei, we dove into your world a little bit where Switch releases next year and then the new Xbox releases the following year.
Yep.
In that world where PlayStation doesn't release a new console until at least 2028, like do you think the PS5 Pro is kind of an error looking forward at that possibility?
At that possibility, yes, but Microsoft also has to have the balls to do it. If they drop next gen in 2026, you either cause Sony to accelerate their plans or come out looking like, I mean, if it happens in 2026, Sony drops in 2028, there is literally nothing stopping Microsoft from dropping a Pro console the same year that comes out to either match it or beat it.
I think you would release a Pro
with a 2-year lead.
I can't imagine you releasing a Pro unless you're 4 years into a generation. Got to be at least 4 years in.
I'm just saying, just despite the PS6, that's all I'm saying. You can literally drop a Pro console. You already had a 2-year head start.
I hear you.
A 2-year head start already.
I'm not living.
That counts.
I'm not living in your world yet, but I hear you.
Okay. Like I just don't think I like it's dumb. Like this AI thing that they have going with their resolution tech.
Yes.
Like they could have tested them. Yeah, they pisser PSSR for sure.
The pisser.
Yeah.
Oh god.
The last generation, the last generation spoiled me. I like 10-year generations. 8 to 10.
I think they're using this to fund the R&D for their machine learning shit.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat.
I don't know if it's funding, but I definitely think they're beta. If you purchase a PS5 Pro, you're basically beta testing
right.
a key feature that's going to be in the PlayStation 6.
Yep. Like they're just maybe perfecting it before next gen, but like I don't know how I don't think they could survive another PS3 situation where they're just late to market, and then I don't know how it's going to be priced either. Because that'd be that PS6 coming out, man. We cutting prices on everything. What you mean?
If Activision,
there's so much marketing good shit that could happen.
I mean, if Activision becomes Activision again, where they're not only doing Call of Duty, if that happens and you get XGS, Bethesda, and ABK all rolling, pumping out titles by the time your next generation kicks off, it could pose some threats. I will admit that, but I just don't want to live in that world where the next generation starts in 2026.
Oh well, I mean, I'm not mad at it. 6 years is still a long time.
This generation feels awfully short, especially with the whole COVID situation. It just feels
Yep.
it feels awfully short.
Maybe it
I mean, it's
wouldn't
not
have
much
to
of-
be if
I will
COVID wasn't
say,
a thing.
yeah, I see what you're saying with the COVID situation. Well, a lot of devs didn't release a true a true ninth gen title.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the first multi-plat ninth gen title that I truly have fallen in love with is definitely Remnant 2. But there's a lot of others that were just PS4 titles as well. So
I mean,
or
I have to
eighth
say,
gen
like,
title.
even on the PC, even on the PC end, like the recent RTX and AMD and even Intel cars, they all felt experimental. Like that's like the round of 3000 series for Nvidia. That's when they really start pushing this frame generation software, and that's been the biggest thing. It seems like they're having a hard.
Right,
Seems
but-
like the industry is having a hard time getting more power out of their hardware natively.
Right, but the thing is that NVIDIA's method works. No, it is literally best in class. It's what it is. That is the best implementation of this tech or implementation of it. Like
For now, we
they,
got
they got
FSR.
it.
We got FSR4 coming
is
out
not
next
close.
year.
It's not close.
FSR4 is coming out next year though, in early January.
They're finally getting machine learning that NVIDIA's been doing for years at this point. Again, it's not going to matter. They're too far behind.
AMD is catching up. We'll give them credit for that.
prioritized it.
They are catching
At a
up.
good
They
time.
did prioritize it, and they've been day one.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly. Like the lead they have, like, is FSR is going to be cool, but it ain't going to be that. There's still going to be a gulf, is what I'm saying. Because
Yeah,
FSR 1, 2, and 3 has not been it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it has not at all.
I'm scared when that 5000 series comes out though. Them graphics cards probably going to be stupid high now.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
my
for what?
God.
What are the returns? What are the returns we're getting?
We don't even know. All I know is GDDR7 is confirmed. That's it. Well, let's see how good that performs.
Hey, I'm right there with you guys. Yeah, we've hit this topic on the head. I mean, but it's a worthwhile topic. There's been a lot of discussions, in social media and in regular media.
It's the future, man.
On
It's
YouTube
the future.
regarding this PS5 Pro. And there's people coming from all sides of it, and I think kind of we're the perfect panel to kind of dive into this. But before I jump into our next topic, we gotta address some of the stuff that Yobi hit us with in the chat. I'm gonna go with the fact that he let Jubei know that he's building his first PC. And he got he has your
RX
PS5.
7900 XTX.
Yeah,
That's a good start. That is a good starting card to start off with.
yeah. So start off with that one, but also he asked the panel a question. And basically he's like, what features do you want from the Xbox handheld?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, they still working on that crap, and they still even working on the Xbox app.
And let's see, and yeah, so that's basically his question. He kind of gave some lead-ins with it, but what do you want from the next Xbox handheld? And since that's a Xbox question, we're gonna get Jubei's answer on this first.
Hell yeah. What do they need? Battery life,
Mhm.
performance, and battery. I think battery life, performance, and the UI are literally the top three things that they have to absolutely nail. Like Steam Deck, that UI is undefeated. Like it's good. Like they have a really good OS on their handheld there, as compared to trying to put Windows on it with all its restrictions. Like if they can nail whatever their store is going to be and put it, have that on the handheld, but also make it feel like you're just turning on your Xbox on this handheld, like it's a wrap. Like
I'm gonna give you my feature.
at That's literally all they have to do. Like that the UI and battery life and performance just have to be on point.
I'm about to give you my feature. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super long. My key feature that I'm gonna go with is Xbox. If they're really doing this handheld, they need to make quick resume cloud based so that you can quick resume
Ooh.
no matter what device you are on.
All right.
That's
Oh, do you know they're going? You
got
do
me.
also got to partner up with like Verizon or AT&T to pull something like that.
why they gotta pull up? They
No.
just it's just their own servers.
It's still Wi-Fi. Fuck you mean?
Well, if you're using Wi-Fi, I thought you were going to say like have its own cellular service.
No, I'm saying you quick resume. The quick resume feature, like basically where no matter where you left off in the game, it'll resume from that exact point. Like even if you played a game, like haven't played the game for 3 months, you'll load the game up and it
Quick.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a console, so you wouldn't know. But yeah, quick resume is.
No, I'm saying I know what quick resume is. I'm just saying you said like 3 months. I'm like, damn, like you don't ever close out an application, just leave everything.
No,
running?
even if you close out the application, that's what I'm saying. With quick resume, it automatically boots from that spot.
I got you.
So like,
that's doable. Expensive, but doable.
To me, that would be the biggest.
What's the key game that you're thinking that would use it, like a middle of a Madden play or something like that, or like?
No, quick resume does not work the best with live service games.
Oh, I'm talking about. Well, okay, I forgot you only play online, right?
I was thinking single player games like something similar to Amazing Spider-Man 2. How you can quickly jump between Peter and Miles.
Yes,
which I mean now that we got the smallest M.2 SSD cards, it is doable, and especially now that these smaller chips can push out more power, so it's doable. It's going to be expensive, but it's doable.
No, because like a great game would be a great example for a Final Fantasy game like Final Fantasy 7 or Visions of Mana. You start playing it on your TV. You walk outside your house. You pick up your handheld, and as soon as you turn,
it's there.
You just quick resume. Yep. Yeah, that's what it's perfect for.
I can already see the commercials. Like, yo, somebody has it on the train. You know, they're playing on the train or whatever, what have you. And then they get home, and then they set it down, and then they turn on their Xbox, and they're literally like right there.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a boss fight. You pause. You press the pause button. Turn off your Xbox, whatever. Grab your handheld. You press the button for the same game, and it's paused right there in the middle of the same boss fight.
I see exactly what you're saying, and that is
yeah. That would be that would be the one killer feature I would want.
It would be pretty cool. It would effectively make it a reverse switch. Because I was thinking more like longer form games, like Civ 7 is coming out. So to have the ability to be sitting on your game playing Civ 7 is like, I gotta go to work. I mean, you just grab this, hit the button, boom, I'm right back to where I started off from. Like, still taking over towns and doing this all type of stuff. I have no idea how that would work. But it would be really, I'll give you that one. It would be really cool to have.
Well, now Quick Resume is currently based off of the internal storage. So to do what I would say, it would have to not be based on the internal storage, or like it would have to be like a situation where maybe your Xbox handheld would have to be docked at the time that you stop playing. It had to be something like that. But I think cloud based would probably be the best in that particular instance.
If they could host just a data center just for that, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
If they could pull it off, but then we have to deal with boot times and your device connecting, to that cloud. So like, there's things there for sure. But I see where you're going.
Yeah, that'll be my killer feature. Nappy, any killer hardware or software feature you would want from an Xbox handheld?
Xbox handheld. If there really was going to be an Xbox handheld, I would say they should definitely focus on getting as many of their AAA titles to be run on that handheld as much as possible. I'm not saying they shouldn't be targeting 1080. I think it should be a 720p device. The play anywhere feature, I don't think they're going to have like a crazy quick resume, as in like you just turn on the game and just get started. I can see though, like making something where basically the handheld can play games with people on console just at a lower resolution and have that flexibility. Now that I know that we got the chips out there that can do it with AMD with the AMD chip, AM.2 chip, and the LDDR5 RAM, or they're trying to work on LDDR6, but the LDDR5 RAM is definitely doable. Also, I do want to be partner up with a cell phone plan like a Razer Edge, for example. You can get this partner up with Verizon and have its own cellular service. I think the device will definitely benefit from having a SIMS card put into it to get that 5G or take advantage of the 5G plus towers.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
So,
Let's see. They were going in reverse order now. Zero. You're an Xbox guy now. Am I? What killer feature would you want to see on the Xbox handheld that might make you switch a little less?
Not so much a feature, so much as the software itself. So I was looking up the Steam Deck's top played games, which there's a couple I didn't expect to see here, particularly like Elden Ring, and Cyberpunk, but largely games that people want to take mobilely. I think that anybody can take any game mobile. That's perfectly fine. But, my personal game of the year, Balatro, which is the poker roguelike, like that screams mobile game. Civilization has sort of always screamed mobile game. Stardew Valley has screamed mobile game. Hades sort of screamed mobile game. Like, it's great to have Halo and Perfect Dark and everything on the go, but like, don't forget what makes handhelds so approachable to so many people, and that there are just games that it's not even like, I don't think by design, right? But there are games that you just sort of know this just works much better on mobile. And Nintendo for a long time has sort of mastered it. Pokemon's a great example. It just works as a mobile game.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Wright series, or any visual novel for that matter, like just works as a mobile game. You just want to, like, you sit on the train, you sit at work, you sit wherever you need to be, pop this in, 10 minutes, you feel accomplished, you've moved forward without taking the like necessary heavy steps of like a Halo, or something like that, which it still can be done. But I think we all understand like the difference between the two. So really investing in some of those, particularly like, again, all it takes is one killer app. And if you just pay attention to what PC gaming is doing, again, games like Stardew Valley, Balatro, Slay the Spire were really big hits. There's no reason Microsoft can't make any of those, because they used to. Games like Braid, Hi-Fi Rush would probably be a good one as well. Castle Crashers would have been great on an Xbox handheld. Like, they would be absolutely bangers of games on an Xbox handheld. So I hope they just don't lose sight of that and like make what you need to make, which I imagine would effectively be a better Steam Deck. But don't lose sight of the games that really shine when they're mobile.
Yeah.
I think that mobile, having their mobile store in order, will help with that, because I absolutely guarantee their mobile store will be on this handheld. I guarantee.
Well, they said they've been working on it for quite some time, and we heard little to nothing about this mobile store.
Yeah, it was supposed to launch in July, so they're behind the 8 ball on that big time. There's something holding them back. So we'll find out probably what went wrong around the time that's actually about to launch. Kofi, Xbox handheld. I know at one point you were a native handheld gamer. So,
yeah.
What would you like to see from an Xbox handheld that may make you a native handheld gamer again?
Man, it's a really good question. I think something that would be really, I don't think they'll do it, but like a way to um, support the physical ownership enthusiast, like a Switch equivalent, where like I could have disc, not disc, some sort of cartridge
Cartridges.
version. Yeah, I would love that.
I don't think
It's pretty
Eternal
wild
Memory.
thinking.
I think Eternal Memory should be good enough to download it.
No,
Yes,
but he wants like those physical. Yes, but the
yeah,
thing
like
is, I
actual.
think if the thing with Xbox is that I don't think there's going to be a differentiation. It's just going to be a different SKU, but all the games are going to be the same. Like whether you get a next gen
Yeah,
Xbox or you get handheld.
yeah,
So games that are physical that are like play anywhere, that might be a thing where you can still like get the physical copy, but it's play anywhere, so you can play it on your handheld or on your main Xbox console or PC or whatever. So I do think
agreed.
I think
Yeah,
I think physical will still be supported. It might be a only like limited run games type thing, but um, I think
yeah. I mean, otherwise, I just really like the idea of some killer IPs that run great on it. As you know, Farrell, we got to briefly touch a friend of mine's handheld. I forget which handheld that was. You remember the
Lenovo
name?
Legion. It's the Lenovo Legion.
That was the Lenovo, and that one is
When you
what, 2K?
when you see
How
how
much was
big that mofo is, I don't think the Lenovo Legion's $2,000.
it?
No,
Anybody
it
know?
should be
like
like 700. It's
it's like
700.
six
You can
seven
get us.
hundred. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same brand appeal as a Asus ROG or a Steam Deck, so it's not outrageously priced.
To be honest with you, that's kind of like that's something I would consider. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah, it's $699 new.
Yeah, and that
At Best
screen is
Buy.
the biggest screen I think you can get from one of the big name.
Like I would run my Steam games on this. I'm kind of holding out to see if a PlayStation equivalent will come out, but um, I like that. I do. I like the device. So if Xbox had something really cool that was compatible, which I'm sure it would be, they want Steam's games, or they want users who are already using Steam Deck to be considering this a competitor if they were to do it. So that and it's just some cool third party support, man. I'd be interested.
Okay.
I really like Kofi's idea. Maybe it could only be for first party titles, but very similar to how Blu-rays used to operate. You buy the physical thing, and here's this code if you want to watch it digitally. So if you buy Perfect Dark physically, but if you want to play it digitally, here's the code that comes with it.
Well, all Xbox first party titles are play anywhere. So I think you'll be fine in that regards if it's first party and they release a physical disc.
Is that how it works currently? If you
Yeah.
have a physical disc?
Yeah, it's play
Okay.
anywhere. Now that said, you might need a disk drive in your PC. Maybe if you purchase the game, if you purchase a game physically that's play anywhere, you might need the disc because you need the disc to play it on your Xbox. It's not like you pop the disc in one time and then you don't ever pop it in again.
Ooh, Pharaoh.
I'm about to say,
What's up?
but don't they?
Play Anywhere can't be on a disc. It's a digital game. Play Anywhere is you buy it digitally and you can play it digitally across your. That's how they get around that.
Yeah.
Yobi just.
Yeah, but I want the other one. Like I want the.
No, but I'm
I
saying
bought
it's no,
physical.
but if you buy it physical, you can still if you buy a physical disc of like Gears of War, for instance, and that's how you bought it physical. If you have a disc drive in your PC and you pop that disc in, you can play it on your PC also.
Right, but I mean, like particularly because we're talking about the handheld.
Yeah,
if I bought Gears physically for my Xbox, I want to be able to play it digitally on my Xbox handheld.
I think
without paying twice.
Oh, Diddy got arrested. Diddy got arrested again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We're breaking news here. So what is it? I mean, there's a way to do that too. Like
again, Blu-rays used to do it. Like it would legitimately be here's the physical disc, but also if you were at a friend's house, here's the code, and you log into Sony Pictures Online, and you can watch your movie here.
Yeah, they would have to have a system in place to where like, which would kind of be like Russian roulette, but like you can like trade, like if you trade the game in, and if that disc pops into another person's account, your licenses are stripped. It'd have to be something like that.
I could see something like that, but I mean, they're gonna have to put a time limit. I mean, heck, Steam actually just recently went green light with their family sharing plan, so all of our digital games could be shared with your family members now. But then again, they made it where if you drop out of a family, you have to wait a whole year before you can go into another family. So sharing game, you can share
Or-
with up to 5 different people.
Or I got you. So they could have like yeah, I guess like you have like you buy your Blu-ray and you get the digital code and shit in the box.
Yeah.
They could do something like that, but it can only be activated on the account that you put your disc in if you want that digital copy.
The
That way you
difference
can't just resell it.
The difference between what you're saying is with Blu-ray, when you get that digital copy, you paid for the digital. You pay for digital and physical. You pay for 2 licenses.
Yeah.
Versus when you purchase a physical console game, you're just paying for that 1 license. You're not paying for a physical and a digital license.
Maybe that could change. Like we're talking
It could.
some years from now.
Well, in your world, we're talking 2. So
yeah, I'm still standing on that. I'm standing on it.
So but yeah. So with that said, we could jump into our next topic. I didn't think these other 2 topics would be extremely long, so that's why I made the PlayStation topic, multi-layered. Space Marines 2. I don't know if anyone on the panel has had a chance to play it to give their impressions, but the game released last week and people are loving it. So much so, in fact, that this is I think in the first week alone, it became the best-selling game in the franchise to this point. So I'm just gonna bounce it around the panel. I know some people wanted to talk about the CEO's comments, so I'm gonna leave that door open. I did read them, but I haven't read them recently. If y'all want me to read them out to the public, I can do that. But I guess I think I'm gonna start this off with Zero. Zero, what are your thoughts around Space Marines 2? It doing so well, and if you want to touch on the CEO's comments, feel free.
Well, I think it's dope that it's doing well. Like, I don't know much about the Space Marine community. However, I've been aware of it for quite some time. I think I mentioned this last, like a guy I went to high school with used to paint figures of them. Like, I know it's a whole big thing. And I've played Space Marine 2. I have it. Not very far, maybe about 3-4 hours max. So I still got to give it some true time to really get into it. But from what I played, having a very good time. It's not asking a lot of you. I know there's a massive amount of lore in the universe, but as far as this game seems to be concerned, it's just like, here you go, guys, kill everything you can see, which is fun. And so there's a part of me that agrees with the CEO's sort of take. And what was he saying? A bit about like overcomplicated, over preachy, over narrative games.
Yeah, basically.
You want me to read the quote real quick?
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up so that I don't botch it myself. Give me just another 2 seconds as I rotate my screen on my 6-year-old phone. Okay. Hey man, CEO of Saber here. Oh, and let me give a little context. This is a comment that the CEO made on a YouTube channel by the popular YouTuber named Asmongold.
Okay.
And the title of the YouTube video was this type of title brings us back to like the Gears of War era, when I guess games were very simple in their complexity, or like their level design, I guess how you would say. Really tough enemies, but you're generally going down like maybe semi-open spaces or corridors with a basic narrative, but somewhat interesting characters. And so it got a lot of attention, and that's why the CEO ended up commenting. So continuing on, he says, I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which, by its nature, was quote unquote old school. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They are too complex and too much of an investment. We worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loops, but it was entirely addicting. This is what we wanted to recapture. I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time when games were simply about fun and immersion. I spent time as chief operating officer at Embracer, and I saw games there that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. We just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, that is what games should be about. End quote.
And for a large part of that statement, I don't disagree. What I'll lead with is what I disagree on is that there aren't games that don't do that today. I still think that Nintendo has built its entire reputation built off that gaming as a simplistic form of fun, or play. A lot of people tend to, I think, forget that games are toys effectively. So you play, and that's what it should be. You should have a good time playing this and loving it. I personally think that, oh God, what was this? 2012, I think. Famous film critic Roger Ebert said that video games could never be art. And at the time, it tore the video game world asunder. It got all the gamers up in a frothy mess to get very, very angry. And I think we're still haunted by that quote today. I think that the industry has done so much to legitimize itself and be seen as this very true art form, that I think a lot of times they miss the point of toys. And I think it's really important to emphasize that I do view video gaming as toys. They're interactive toys and they're expensive toys and they're digital and all this other type of stuff. But they are toys, right? Like we pull these things to have enjoyment from them, as opposed to when I watch Oppenheimer, I'm intrigued by the story of this man. And you can have some things that do both, right? Like The Last of Us is a perfect example of sort of a heart-wrenching story about a father and daughter that you're playing as, and it's interactive, but doesn't necessarily have the same emotional beats as, say, like Lone Wolf and Cub, maybe, depending on your mileage, possibly. But I think the industry's been chasing the legitimacy of itself for so long that it's really lost sight of why we all became gamers in the first place. And like we did not grow up, or at least folks on this panel within this realm, at least the last, anybody who's 30 plus at this point, didn't really grow up on things like The Last of Us with these strong narrative storytelling games. There always were some. We always had JRPGs that we love. But overall, we ran fast with Sonic, we jumped high with Mario, and we saved Princess with Link, and that was it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with playing Space Marines and just killing bugs or aliens or doing whatever. And I think that it is nice to get back to that. Black Myth Wukong is really nice. The only problem I had with it is that I didn't know it was effectively a boss rush game. But once you're okay with that, then it becomes really enjoyable. And you're just waiting to get to the next cool boss to see what happens and see how to beat this cool boss. No more, no less. There is the story of Journey to the West, but truthfully, you're probably better served reading it or watching someone explain it to you than learning that story through Black Myth in the game. So I don't, I'm not too big on the whole morality portion of it. That feels one too many steps towards like all games are woke. not really team that at all. But I think there's something nice about just a simple, fun game. I think that I have played close to 100 hours of Remnant 2 now. I could not tell you what the story is. I do not know. And I largely don't care because I've had an absolutely wonderful time playing with Kofi or just trying to get guns, seeing the randomly generated effect, just different weapons that you can get or different rings or artifacts. Like, that's fun for me. Like, I don't need this overarching story. It's not to say that they can't exist. One of my favorite games of all time is BioShock, which has weak, loose morals, but it is trying to tell a story in that way. But my favorite video game series is Mega Man. And largely, that's about go right, kill robots, save the world. Rinse and repeat for about 20 games at this point. And there's nothing, I can't see any issue with that. Pokemon is just, you're a kid, save the world, catch monsters, move on. I think the industry would be greatly serviced if we just didn't forget that. Don't get rid of storytelling games. I think they're great. They're excellent. And you can tell, some of these games have become feature-length films and excellent TV. So I could never say it's not welcome. Just, remember why this industry got popular to begin with. And it's the fun aspect. Like, if nobody's having fun, I don't think people really want to enjoy it. And some people drag themselves through, but fun is what it's always going to be at the end of the day. Like, it's why games like Among Us popped off in the way that they did, because it's fun to just play like a whodunit game, or what is effectively Clue. So I agree with a lot of what he said. I think that if we can go back to just a bit of simpler times, we might be a little bit better for it. And not for nothing, it might cost us a little less if we don't have to spend $300 million on this grand narrative story, but maybe we can just spend half of that for a fun 30-hour romp from A to B.
Okay. I definitely agree there. I think, even when it comes to just games and the games in general we've been getting this year's over the years, even when there's like a set story from like a licensed IP like Spider-Man, it's like these developers still want to like kind of push their own narratives within the narrative. Sometimes, and I think that kind of can hurt certain games. And I think we're just kind of, I think it's good that we're getting these a developer like Space Marines and Warhammer having the success they're having. Just focusing on making the game fun. And we've seen it with Elden Ring. Just make a game fun. And people will be happy. So I definitely agree with your sentiments there, Zero. But Kofi, your thoughts? Have you had a chance to touch Space Marines 2 yourself, or
I'm a bit salty with my my import, the business I typically import games from.
yeah.
I don't even think the game is so I ordered Astrobot and Space Marines Japanese version because I can get the games cheaper because of the strong dollar and because it's free shipping. But I haven't even gotten like a notification that the preparation has been completed. It's getting a little disappointing. So I haven't played Space Marine 2. I should own the game by now, or I do, but it isn't here. But to his comments, I also agree mostly. I may struggle with his idea of complex versus simple. And the reason I say that is I definitely agree that a light narrative can make for a very good game. Reggie or Zero already mentioned Remnant 2. Remnant 2, I feel like they just gave up on the story because the
It's too
original
much.
story so much like for people who haven't played, the original narrative is there, and there is some connection between. This is actually the third game in the Remnant world, which is interesting. And though it's Remnant 2, this is the third game, and there's cool things with that. But other than that, the DLC added nothing of context to what happened at the end of the core game story, and that's so sad. So I agree that even though it's so simple and really bad, Remnant 2 is just one of my favorite games of the generation by far. Like, it's probably going to end up being like top 5 Gen 9 game. But I've also seen simple games that I think just did not work for me. I have to say this. I don't know if I've talked about this. Sea of Stars was a wonderful. Okay, I can't say it's wonderful. It's a very good turn-based RPG made by the developers of The Messenger, which was a game that was inspired by Ninja Gaiden, and it is a good game. But I feel like it had many opportunities to share character interactions in their own narrative, and it doesn't, and it feels like this empty shell of an experience. Because you're with these characters the whole time through, they don't really ever express genuine shock or love for these crazy events. I mean, like, there's like a little bit of like world traveling, like going in between worlds, and they don't really reflect on it at all. They don't think it's crazy. They don't think it's confusing. They don't think it's supposed to stir any emotion. And to me, because the game is so hardcore in the gameplay and didn't share the stories, I didn't like that. I want more narrative from a game like that. So to me, I guess simple only comes in certain contexts. Because here's the thing: Sea of Stars has a really interactive gameplay system that's almost inspired by something like Final Fantasy VIII or A Legend of Dragoon, where you have to press certain buttons to attack enemies. And even though it's turn-based, if you're not looking at the screen, you could easily take too much damage and die off one mistake. It still wasn't interesting to me. It just wasn't. These guys get to the next checkpoint and they're just like, we have to go to the tower. We have to go to this fortress. We have to go into the portal. I'm like, okay. So that was really hard. And so I guess it really just depends on the game. But I know that some games have a strong political agenda and some have less. But for me, I guess it's the complete package. My favorite game of all time, or one of my favorite games of all time, Trails, takes place in a very political environment, having to do with annexing kingdoms and understanding technology and whether you should take away technology from people who are too dangerous. I love it. So I just think it's all, and that game is simple in other ways, right? Where its graphics look like 15-year-old graphics, but their narrative is like as long as War and Peace. So to me, I guess it depends on your perspective on what has to be simple, what you want to be complex.
Okay. Jube, what are your thoughts?
I'm actually playing Space Marine right now.
Okay. Well, what are your
it's surprise.
What are your impressions of the game first?
It's
most
fucking
importantly.
great.
Okay.
It's just a fun game. Like, I mean, it's very point A to point B, but like having to fight off like hordes of, I don't even remember what the fuck they're called. I'm not very far. But yeah, having to fight off like these massive hordes and shit. Like, there's times I'm kind of sweating a little bit because I'm like, oh, like I'm literally about to die. I need like one more parry and so I don't die. Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's really fun though. It's just a game. Like, there's no hidden agenda or anything. It's just a game. It's a good game. Yeah, I'm like, it's taking me back to the 360 days where you just have like this random action game that's just just your shit, like playing like a Vanquish or something, like, cool.
And last but not least, Happy, you have any impressions on the Space Marines 2 front?
My friend has been bugging me to buy the game. He was disappointed I didn't buy it right away, but I am getting the game this Friday, so I will be hopping on. From what he told me, he said that it's going to bring us back to the old Gears days where we used to play Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, a little bit of 3 together. We didn't get to finish 3 together, but we definitely finished 1 and 2 together. He's like, it feels like a modern day Gears of War. And it's something that like he just appreciates. He's loving it. So once I get the game, I'm definitely going to hop on. I trust his judgment. And also hearing the statement made from the developer, I can mostly agree. Glad to hear that that he's like saying like, yeah, we need to go back to a more simpler time. We don't need these crazy narrative driven stories. We just need fun games. And a little bit less of the personal agenda being pushed. I could somewhat understand what they were saying. Don't see too much of it, but if it is, then people should put that on the side burner. Just make a good quality game that for everyone to enjoy. So,
All right. Cool.
I think it's also possible you can do both. You just have to disguise. Sometimes it's easier to disguise one with the other. Like Metal Gear Revengeance, I think, is a good example. Like it is discussing political themes. I mean, the character literally says like "Make America Great Again," but it's also on the backdrop of this cyborg ninja who's just chopping people up everywhere he goes, and you still have to fight like the president or vice president. I don't remember which one he is.
Senator Armstrong. He's a senator.
Excuse me. You fight a senator as the last boss, and like he's like piecing you up, you the cyborg robot. But they are like low key kind of talking about semi-relevant political theming and ideologies. But I can't be bothered to pay attention to that because this senator is whooping my ass, and I'm a cyborg ninja.
He's making the mother of all omelets. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, we got everything on this particular topic. We can move on to our final topic of the day. That's another topic I don't think we're gonna touch crazy on, but can't duck the smoke. And that is Xbox has another round of layoffs. This time it was about 650 employees. I think they're mostly ABK related, and it's brought the layoffs since their acquisition of ABK to around, I believe, 2550. This round of layoffs was mainly at the administrative level. It didn't have much to do with actual gaming. So it seems like they're like kind of clearing out house on like the HR and all those other marketing people and things like that. Still never want to see it. You want people to be able to make a living, especially, they were all excited about getting purchased, most of them. So it kind of sucks to see that kind of happen to those folks. But yeah, Jube, what are your thoughts on this? And do you think, if Call of Duty isn't what they expect it to be, do you think we see another round of layoffs?
Call of Duty is going to be what they expect it to be. It always is. Or even when the game is trash. Even when the game is trash, it still sells.
Well, I think what Microsoft is expecting a certain bump within their own platform and services due to Call of Duty.
Microsoft wants that bump for money.
Yeah.
Due to Call of Duty, which they are going to get. It doesn't matter.
Hey, that new movement system was an improvement. I have to give
it was, bro.
That.
Was it not fun? Was it not fun?
It was fun. Yeah, the whole 360 crouching thing. They really were on something.
Yeah, like okay, that's new. But nah, it sucks. Like it sucks to lose your job. I'm happy that there's no like studio closures or anything that affects like game development or anything like that. It's still on the Xbox side of things, but it's like I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of like redundant roles from ABK that they either already filled or what have you. Surprised. I mean they kept them on the payroll this long, even if if they knew they were in redundant roles, like which I mean that's great, but like still having to get laid off kind of sucks. But I get it. It's not just a thing that they're specifically doing. Like we're seeing layoffs all over the place. It's just a shitty time, and hopefully whoever gets let go has a really decent severance package, and everything's copacetic.
Yeah, sure.
It just seems like every time like they get a chance to take a breather though. They're fucking stepping on that damn rake, like getting smacked right in the middle of their forehead with it.
I think a part of that is just
it's,
I
it's
think a
bad
part of that
press.
is just the first party cash flow hasn't been consistent yet as far as when it comes to they got the recurring revenue from their live service and Game Pass of course, but like these we just haven't we haven't had that game per quarter yet. I think I think once the game per quarter hits, I think layoffs will kind of
That
slow down a bit.
that cadence is coming. We know that 2025 is about to be on that kind of time.
I'm about to say, man, their Activision's already still making money. Heck, Diablo Mobile is still making millions of dollars a day.
Yeah, like
Dirty
they're not
money.
really tripping over. They're just trying to streamline
Overwatch
this
is
stuff.
doing really well, so despite all the hate it got.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where's the what? No, they got active player base, a crazy active player base.
I'm not saying that, but yeah, that's what I said. They got the money from the live service stuff because they have so many of those games, but they also have a lot of games in development that they aren't making money on. And I think once you get into your cadence of actually releasing a game a quarter and you get that revenue on top of the Game Pass revenue on top of your live service revenue, I think you'll start to see these layoffs kind of slow down a bit.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they did take on a lot of new employees, so
yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize also is that a lot of the new hires that Activision had hired was for the purpose of getting the acquisition across the finish line.
Yep. You got to think like what? How many ABK employees were there?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think they got.
a lot.
I think they got around to like 12,000 employees.
12,000. Like yeah, like it's like a substantial.
They were planning.
Number.
They were planning on cutting. I think like 30 to 40% of the workforce had the acquisition not gone through anyway. So like a lot of people are going to get laid off anyway. The whole purpose of hiring these people was to get this acquisition across the finish line. So unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. Like I said, it super sucks, but well, they'll be straight, or I hope they'll be straight. Once we hit that, hell, I want 2 games a quarter now. I'm on my zero shit. Give me 3 games a quarter. I need a game a month.
3 games a quarter, AAA, AA. What we talking?
No. They do not have to be AAA. Like I expect 1 AAA a quarter. Like they can split this shit up however they want. They can literally drop a AAA a quarter, 1 or 2 AA's a quarter, and like an indie or like
that would be
a smaller budget game.
That means Xbox Global Publishing would be pretty busy if that were the case.
Yep,
They
yes,
need
they
to be pretty busy.
They should be busy. Like,
because
run me my games.
Your internal studios are just not going to have that type of output. I don't care how many studios
they're not, but I mean, but like, not every studio needs to be working on a AAA unless they have the size to work on multiple projects like that. Like, you can have a studio, and we're not even talking about like the Activision shit. It doesn't have to be from first party. Like, I still consider Activision first party. If they have a studio that's working on something that's smaller scale, like there's too many different studios for them to really have that problem.
Oh, I hear you. I don't necessarily
it's a numbers game, and like they're still dropping mobile games and shit. Like obviously the Diablo team can handle a console and a cell phone app that's just fucking racking in just a billion dollars.
It is making millions of dollars a day.
Oh yeah,
Diablo Immortal is making dirty money.
Yeah, but then
You'd be so mad if you saw the numbers.
They also did the Call of Duty mobile, and that one didn't quite hit how they thought. No,
Warzone mobiles do really good now. They optimize it.
It's a new Call of Duty mobile, I thought.
Yeah, Warzone mobile.
Okay.
That's the one I play where I was talking about they use their engine and you can take all your battle pass stuff and play it on Warzone mobile.
Yep.
So, but I'm not doom and glooming over there. I just think they're waiting for the new money to come in per se. So kind of my thoughts, but let me bounce this down to our next resident Xbox owner, Zero. How do you feel about this round of administrative layoff? at the ABK.
I mean, as always, man, I think it sucks that people lose their job, particularly in this environment. That's hard, and you don't know, what's coming up next. And on a general level, it's always bad. On a personal level, like I know people who work in Microsoft who aren't developers.
Yeah,
So it's like, I'm always worried about like, hey, man, is everybody gonna be okay? Type of deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
Fortunately, this person was not a part of that, but uh, it always could be.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I also have a friend who, or actually a member of our family. He was out west, and now is able to work remote. And I think because he's remote, sometimes he doesn't feel like the camaraderie and being in the office. And even though he's been a valued member, these rounds of layoffs have definitely made him nervous.
yeah,
I'm very curious how long he'll stay.
it's scary to be like, when you're in person, you can
Them soft
you can
skills.
you smooth people up. That's that you hang out with the guy who's taking the smoke break and he's like, nah, I like you, kid. Like I'm not going to make sure you're taken care of. You can't do that anymore. And that's what we wanted, to be fair. Like don't nobody want to go into the office, so it's fine. But it's just always bad when folks lose their job, and hopefully people can land on their feet. Um, and continue to support their families and do what they need to do to be successful in today. So
Okay.
uh, oh, just sad to see it happen.
Yeah. Kofi, since you already started talking, what are your thoughts on this round of administrative layoffs that Xbox has done at
Um,
ABK?
I'm not gonna beat up on Xbox specifically. I do think that the industry really um, it really rode the wave of increased user interactivity between 2021 and the beginning of 2023. Everybody was either subscribing or buying games. Everybody was home, and then I'm sure Xbox did it too. I remember PlayStation was just like, "We're just giving games away. Like, if do you own Ratchet and Clank? Like, you should come and get it." And I'm sure Live did the same thing. And then all these hires come, and then you have all this inflated staff, and then of course the economy changes and status change. I think hopefully the pain of this massive acquisition from a couple of years ago has finally reached a point where this number of layoffs will not happen for a much greater time. Hopefully throughout the rest of this gen, be 3 years or 2.5 years, whatever. So, um, definitely, I feel for people who no longer have a job as of right now. To be honest, it makes me think of like other PlayStation, first party. I think of like the Concord guys. Um, we don't really talk enough about just the emotional stress that they go through, or this title that they dedicate a lot of time to, even before PlayStation was there, and now this game is just like not available anywhere. And it could be a similar feeling for some of these people who, and started working at Xbox recently, and they've always wanted to be part of, game development, and now they're looking again. So that definitely it stings, and I hate the idea that you could fulfill your dream to do something like this in gaming, and then um, have be hit by something like this in an era where technology is still so it's advancing so quickly, or we have so many interesting innovations going on, whether it's AI or whether it's with the semiconductor. So it's tough, but no, I'm not gonna like beat up on Xbox for this. I think the one studio that seems to hold things together for the most part, and we don't hear about layoffs often, is Nintendo. Of course, we know that they do a lot of partnerships for some of their um, internal studios. They use developers that are kind of around. It's kind of hard to organize my understanding of Nintendo studios, because they don't really talk about individual studios. I mean, yes, they have like Game Freak, some things like this, but um, I wouldn't know um, the name of the specific team that has made the last two Zelda games. Not really. Um, so I'm not really sure how they do reorgs. But
Yeah, you would just, it just says Nintendo.
yeah,
Like,
they keep it
that's
real
it.
simple. I'm like, who is even working on
Well,
this?
they keep everything so cheap so that they don't have to have layoffs.
I
I
agree.
mean,
They could
their
survive
their
lean
owner did
periods.
take a pay cut at one point
Yeah.
when they were
Right, we
going
got to give
under.
shout out to Iwata. Rest in peace. Iwata did take a pay cut. I think it was like in 2012 or something like this. Maybe before that.
Probably like around the Wii U era when Wii U's
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts, man. I hope it's over. I more just feel for the worker, because it's just been round after round after round for a lot of these big gaming companies.
Yeah.
So,
and Nappy, last but not least, what are your thoughts on?
It. I don't know. The tech industry has just been struggling lately for the past couple of, well, damn near a year now at this point. I really do hope that the people who did lose their jobs find other jobs real quickly, because I understand that the market is really tough out here, especially during these times where they're still expecting that COVID profits, but then they realize that people are going outside more. It just is what it is at this point. Hopefully this will probably be the last time we hear about Microsoft doing layups for quite some time. I understand this was part of the clean up the APK, but I don't want to hear no more people from APK getting fired from this point forward. I mean, you got the company, you got the IPs, you're making dirty money at this point. Diablo Immortal's making dirty money. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is doing decent. I mean, if you have a modern day phone, which I mean, the next lineup of phones are coming out, so they can run them easily. Yeah, I don't want no more. There should be no more layoffs. And Overwatch 2 is doing good, despite being so bad, apparently.
Oh, and then they just did they doing the World of Warcraft crossover for Overwatch 2. I just saw that.
Yeah, so again, I mean, I understand that money is probably hard right now. It's hard for a lot of companies. Right now, a lot of people are not selling, so or not buying anything. So I understand, but there should be no more excuses beyond this point. If anything fails for whatever reasons, it's going to be on Microsoft as a company rather than just on the people.
So I'll say I think a lot of it is getting rid of redundancies, but also want people to remember why Activision was available for purchase in the first place. There were a lot of people at the administrative level that failed to protect these developers, particularly the female developers, and there was a lot of sexual harassment and things that are going on. So I am hoping that of those 650 that were released, a lot of them were those people who allowed just all those bad things that were happening at ABK to run rampant for so long. I'm hoping that this round of layoffs got rid of those Cosby run people and things like that, and that it really just allows the current workforce at ABK to move forward and just have a positive working environment long term. I do feel bad for the people who had nothing to do with any of those type of things that were impacted, but I'm hoping that at least the bright spot that can come out of these changes that are taking place at Activision Blizzard is that the employees that remain will have a much more positive working environment that they feel comfortable in, that they can thrive in, that they can be creative in, and really make the games that they want to make. And that's kind of my biggest hope when they decided to make this purchase to begin with. So I just hope that whatever is going on there is putting ABK in a positive direction. But with that said, if no one else has anything else to add on to this topic, we can roll into our outros. All right, Nappy's ready for outros for sure.
Oh no, it just hit me. It was just like as soon as the outros, I was just like,
yeah, that
sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
God damn, man.
So
I'm old.
With that said, I want to thank everybody for coming out and rocking with us. We're gonna get into our outros, and I am going to start with my boy Jubei because we know he's on baby time.
Oh, he sleep, bro. He ain't have to start with me.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Oh dang! Oh snap! Jubek got the cheat
For
codes.
once. First time in podcast history, the newborn has been asleep.
Yeah,
Outro,
that's
let's
great.
go, man.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. You can find me at Jubex Sensei on gaming stuff, and Jubex Sensei everywhere else. Hoping to play some more Space Marine 2. It's a really fun game. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Kofi, you were first here. You'll be first out. Where people
Yes,
find you, what were
sir.
you playing?
Yes, you can catch me at creative_Kofi on Twitter, and you can catch me playing Renatus. I pray I will put together a completed gameplay playthrough and then post some detailed screenshots and gameplay from this game before the retail release in the United States. My thoughts on whether you should buy this at full price or if you should just try the demo, or should you just completely skip the game. I will definitely be speaking on that, and this is for a very much underdog company, so look forward to seeing that on Twitter about Renatus.
All right. And
Ooh.
let's see. Nappy made it. Nappy, give your outro. Where people find you, what will you be playing?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube. Just type in Nappy Senshi if you are curious about a Nintendo Switch /PC controller. I do highly recommend the CRKD DOS controller. Comes in many different colors. This is just a splatter green paint one. The video for the Razer Edge is coming along together. I'm trying to get this out sooner than later. It is an Android gaming device that has been marked all the way down to $250, which for a gaming Android tablet, it's not bad, honestly. I don't hate it. I actually think it's pretty cool. And also, I'm going to, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to review the 8-Bits Do's new Ultimate C budget controllers that comes with 2 programmable buttons. This just all happens to be the Wukong edition, so that's why it has a cool little design on it. It's for PC, and yeah, it's actually a great budget controller. So, and then till then, I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Last but not least, Zero, where can people find you, but also where might they find us?
Guys, you can catch me 0.exe or 0x386 pretty much everywhere you play your games. Join me and Kofi in some Remnant. Kofi knows all the secrets. And we're getting that new DLC with Boss Rush on the 24th, I think is what it is.
Yep, 24th.
26th? Oh no, I think you're right. 24th. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I saw the Remnant. Everyone's announcing it. The new Remnant 2 DLC.
Yeah, should be an absolute blast. Cannot wait at all. But more importantly to me, you can find us, the Vitamin G Podcast, pretty much anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, anywhere. Just give us a like, give us a comment. Subscribe, check us out, man. I feel like we've been really hitting our stride with a lot of this, and it's been great conversations, good people, and just having fun gaming talk. So check us out. Appreciate you guys, and talk to you next time.
All right. And with that said, I want to thank you, everyone, once again, for coming through and getting your weekly dose of that vitamin G. We are out. Peace.
Later. See ya.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin J, got what you need. Vitamin J, got
All
what you need.
alone.
Vitamin J. Ayy. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin J.
on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
Discussing that heat in the street, hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east, I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east, I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east, I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got
All
what you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Hey. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All alone.
Vitamin G. Discussing that heat in the street. Hey, we got just what you need on Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this Vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All
Vitamin
alone.
G. Discussing that heat in the street. Hey, we got just what you need on vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got
All
what you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Ay. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G.